Starts. You don't have to. I'm just saying that's what happens.
Like I shouldn't just say motherfucker, motherfucker, motherfucker,
Starts.
motherfucker.
You don't have to. I'm just saying that's what happens.
Demonetized.
Like I.
Whoa. Well, watch your language.
FCC fine. Okay, so here we go. As always, we start cinematically. The scene is a bustling spaceport of High Cape, the large industrial city on Gateway, responsible for ships and shipbuilding. The camera's high overhead, looking down into the spaceport itself. Smaller surface aircraft buzz around the edges, while a larger frigate blasts off and climbs into the atmosphere. The camera zooms in and we see the landing area with multiple spacecraft arrayed in neat patterns. One of these frigates is familiar. It's the Harsh Mistress, a well-known free merchant owned by a famous pilot. There are a few people outside of the ship, the small figures hard to make out from this distance. One figure walks away from the group briskly, and the camera drops down and follows them close behind. It's a smaller figure in work coveralls, a young girl that's dressed as a repair person. She's walking away from the Harsh Mistress quickly, holding a large wrench that is specially designed for working with the heavy armor of spacecraft. She glances over her shoulder, then turns swiftly and ducks into an access corridor. Steam hisses from vents as other workers hustle past in various trade uniforms. She takes another quick turn, the camera following her closely into a small room. There's a man here, dressed nicely, but in an unfamiliar style. He gestures and starts to grill her, the audio inaudible. She points back towards where she came and tells a story anxiously. Taking out her high-tech personal camera device and showing him some pictures. He stares at her for a moment, then nods. He reaches into a pocket, pulls out a thick wad of script and hands it to her. They part and go in opposite directions. He has a camera, and she has the untraceable paper currency. That scene ends. Next scene. The scene focuses on a cluster of small Gateway Republic Navy ships slowly cruising through the darkness of space. They're silent in the vacuum, but the tension is thick. They are on the hunt. The camera zooms far past to another small cluster of ships, but these are much different. Bluish purple crystals spin at strange and pointy angles. They move quickly, but not in straight lines. The camera pulls way back and the scene is rendered as if through a ship's sensor console. On one side is the Republic military, on the other side is the enemy swarm. And the telemetry lines on the console show an intercept course counting down to contact within a few hours. The scene ends. And the final scene. The final scene shows a passenger stateroom of the Harsh Mistress. The crew is gathered around Sakimi, who sits staring intently at a communication screen. Her freshly dyed hair glows bright blue. Junbi staring intently at his datapad. Vikesh looks grim, and Talon is trying to look calm. The comm screen goes dark, and Sakimi pushes back from the desk, letting out a slight sigh. The crew hovers for a moment, then the tension fades as they realize they have pulled it off. Sakimi starts to get up from her desk, but the comm screen flashes again, and she freezes in her chair. It's an incoming call from Fortune Station. They're hailing the Harsh Mistress, asking for a private channel with Holly Blue, and it's marked as personal and priority. What do you do?
Ooh, pretty.
Call for you, Daimo.
Yeah, so how do messaging machines work, Space Master? If no one picks up, does it go to voicemail?
Yeah, so it's like a station to ship communication. So they're trying to open essentially a two-way communications channel. Usually if that goes, and certain military and police functions can override that and just broadcast regardless. Everybody else has to take the hail. If you don't take the hail, yeah, it's pretty typical that they turn that into a burst message.
Yeah, Sakimi will say, I don't know what kind of questions they're going to ask, so let's see if they leave me a message, and I'll send them one back. But I don't want to get trapped into live communication. I feel like there's questions they'd ask that I wouldn't know the answers to.
I understand.
All right. Well, Space Master, I will try to contact Bohai, and also, like I said, since I didn't need to find a pilot, I would have seen if there's any trade going to Tide that we could have picked up to make some extra money on this run.
Yep, let's go one at a time and make sure we're sharing the love with everybody. So you know that annoying thing that happens when the phone is ringing in the middle of the room, old-fashioned phones, and it just rings
I'm assuming June B took care of that.
rings and rings.
Is there a trap I can send it to?
Yep, you can just like kill the incoming hail and then basically send it to, prompt them for a recorded message.
Then that is what I shall do.
Okay.
In there.
After a few moments, there's a bing of an incoming message that's been recorded. Sakimi, are you going to contact your contact straight away, or are you going to listen to the message?
You should listen to the message.
Yeah, we'll listen to the message.
Okay, there's a video transmission of the same perky, extremely uniform, slightly stylish haircut woman that picked up the comm before. And she has a big smile on her face. Hi, Miss Blue. This is a courtesy message. We've noticed some irregularities in your account, and we want to work really hard to make sure that this is you and keep you safe. Please reply. We'll be dispatching a crew to help with the face-to-face verification. Thank you. Please contact us. And you notice on the communication station, on the sensor panels, that there's 2 new ships that have just been launched from Fortune Station. Fortune Station has its own ship registry, so these are FTN registered ships. Looks like 1 shuttle and 1 fighter. And they are launched and are slowly making their way in your direction. You're 20 or 30 minutes away.
So we've landed, and it only takes them 20 or 30 minutes to get down?
No, you're in space.
Oh, I thought
We didn't land at the station. We did our data run, right?
So everybody's in space. That's what the scene shows. And you're about 20 or 30 minutes away. You've got very faint visual contact on Fortune Station. But you're definitely still up in orbit. We did not go down to the ground. And there, you got only as close as you needed to do to get very high-speed data transfer. So, almost no lag on the comms. And it would take, 20 or 30 minutes, depending on the speed of the ship, in order to actually get the distance.
All right, and where was I meeting Bohai?
You're meeting
Where we
Bohai down back on planet in one of the cities. I'll tell you in a sec. You're going to meet him in the capital of Touchpoint. So the communication came from Fortune Station. They seem a little bit concerned and are trying to do their best to help verify Holly Blue's identity. And they've launched 2 ships to head towards the Harsh Mistress. What do you do?
I don't think we should stay here.
Well, 2 choices. Stay, let them on, bluff through it. Or, run, get chased, get flagged.
We're not gonna get flagged. I don't think we can bluff through it either. I'm sure they have some sort of bio scanning ability.
It's a reasonable guess, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking we land, make ourselves scarce from the Harsh Mistress for a bit, and I'll send a message back to them and let them know that's not necessary.
Where were you thinking of landing?
In the capital with our contacts, maybe they could help us get off. Without being noticed if we need to.
If that's your call and you're firm about it.
Is that abandoning the ship?
No, they won't be able to get into the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, no. And then
They will if they want to.
we'll leave. We'll leave. We'll leave when the opportunity's right.
Okay, so the reason you can get almost instant information about the position, location, and registry of almost every other ship in system is because they all have transponders and are required to keep these transponders on according to law. However, you could choose to flick off your transponder at any time, which makes you essentially vanish until somebody's either to do a super active probe scan and get lucky by finding out exactly where you are, which is hard in space, or B, getting visual contact on you. So you obviously can stay here, transponder on, and intercept with these ships. You could fly down to the surface with your transponder on, and it'll be quite clear where you went exactly. They can track you the whole way in, like you'd track an airplane in modern day. Or you could flick that transponder off. It's not legal to do so, and you'd may have some issues when you're on planet, or if you're able to sneak and just land someplace else, or have another way to do it, you could essentially disappear. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep on course for the capital, and I'm gonna package up a message to send back to Fortune. A video message.
Also, just while we're thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, Space Master. If we are in high speed transmission distance from Fortune, these craft have us in visual range already.
Uh, 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 yes, presumably, but you're at visual distance from Fortune, which is a big ass station, and you're a smaller ship. So turning off the transponder is a very good way to break visual, and you're, like I said, 20, 30 minutes ahead of them.
So
You're a
thank you.
car on the distant horizon, and you're able to accelerate away quickly.
Yep.
So
So
we're
let me
flying
know.
away from them.
Yeah, we're
So,
headed to Fortune. Oh, sorry, we're
so,
headed to what's the name of the place?
Touch Point is the capital.
Touch Point. Yeah.
so Phil, is this a situation where I could use scope it out to figure out the best way out of a situation? Or I know you already mentioned the transponder, but if I could layer on top of that potentially.
Yeah. So, down in the bottom right-hand corner of the cheat sheet, and something I echoed into Discord a little while before, is kind of the structure of how we do moves. So, uh, you know, the first thing is like if you think it might trigger a move, it's state your intent. Like, what do you want to try to do? And then let's see if that triggers something. So my question to you, Talon, is what do you want to do?
I'd like to think about the protocols that would be here between the station and the planet, and figure out the best way to hide our path.
So this sounds like you're taking time, not necessarily
Yep.
sensitive equipment, and you're choosing to study a situation, not necessarily an object or a person.
Yep. Yeah. Just like sort of the legal / trade / communication between the two, right? He's sending the captain sending the communication. Is that the best way to warn them off our path? Can we claim some other problem or some other challenge that just warns them off or something like that?
Yep, awesome. So the next thing we want to do before you roll dice is we want you to understand the consequences. There's no specific consequences in this move. It's either you get a lot or you get less. But remember, if you roll a 6-, then it's my turn, and I have different calls I need to make. So if you're okay with those consequences, then describe in game what you're going to do. Use a fiction.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that.
Okay, describe it.
Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, had a kid pop in.
Yep.
Yeah, so Talon Talon's going to go to the system, right? Because we were talking about shutting off the transponder and stuff anyway. And he's going to, he sort of sits down in the op station. He pops open a book in a data terminal and starts like typing about like the corporate regulations. So he's doing like a quick search through regulations of space stations versus planets and trade and where their jurisdictions end and blah blah. That's he's trying to figure out if there's a paperwork way to warn them off between these 2 points.
Awesome. And just so the camera knows what's going on up in the bridge, because certainly there's room and you can get access to any computer system from there. Or do you actually want to go down into ops where it's like a little more hardcore?
No, yeah. Talon spends time in ops. He's sort of like he's set up camp there, so that's definitely where he looks like he's communicating with you guys and he's staying in touch with the sensors and what's going on. But he sits in ops.
Cool. So I'm picturing other people go and start to try to execute. Maybe Sakimi's in the bridge. Talon, where would you go when there's a moment when it seems like something is about to happen? Where's Vikesh go?
Slow motion, nothing in combat range, dropping down onto planet. I'll be in my bunk.
Awesome. And I think probably Sakimi and Junbi are usually up in the bridge itself, right? When you're about to do something.
Yep.
Okay, so the camera's down in ops, and this says roll plus calculated. And I don't think there's any other modifiers, no holdovers for advantage or anything, so just roll it.
Where's roll hideout again? I know you guys told me last time.
If you go to your character sheet,
You can pop out your character sheet too, so
I
it's
did,
not
yeah.
in the same one. Yeah.
There's little
Yeah,
dice
and then-
next to each.
next to each approach.
Yep. Okay, there we go. Cool. And then I just roll it, right?
Yep. Well, that happened.
So,
Hold
I
on,
rolled.
hold on.
It added the 2 to it, right?
Yes, if you mouse over the big red number,
Oh,
give you the breakout.
4 plus 2. Hey.
I will radio down from the bridge as I notice what Talon is doing, and obviously he's been talking to us. And Sakimi will say, "Talon, no. Check out the vector for the approach to the city and all the oncoming traffic from the shipping lane. Let's try to go that route instead, and I will give you a reroll by spending a command."
Whoa.
Whoa!
I only have the one, so make it count.
Oh no, jeez. That was special. Okay. So as I'm starting to the way I see it is, Talon sort of gets lost in what he's thinking about, and he sort of starts writing up like some like communication that's going to send something over to the other ship, and then that's when the captain redirects me.
Hide in the
Partial
shipping lane.
success.
Hey.
Yay!
Wow. That was dramatic. I was all ready to say something on with a 6-.
Yeah, well, you get your XP in one way or the other, right?
So your perception's a little dull, Talon. Ask one from that list, or something else you want to know that's similar.
So I like where the captain redirected me, but what I was going to ask is, what's my best escape route or way in or past? And I actually think it makes a lot of sense with the captain's plan of, just blending in with the traffic. That would be my ideal.
Okay. So, Talon, after you carefully look at the route that you're planning to take from outer orbit, well outside of the atmosphere, through the atmosphere and then towards the planet, you realize that as the harsh mistress has turned away from Fortune Station and is aiming down towards the planet, that the fighter that was marked as a Fortune marked ship has started to accelerate. So my answer is, what's the best escape route is, if you don't choose to turn your transponder off, there's a very good chance the fighter will intercept you while you're still in space. So the best way to escape is to turn the transponder off. but the
Captain, that
action you choose to
yep.
take is entirely up to you.
And no reason I can't offer Captain, right? Captain, that ship's scanning on us. I think we need to shut the transponder down.
Hold on.
Got my finger on the trigger, Cap.
Yeah, hold on. Jimby, patch me through to Fortune Station.
Yes, ma'am. Beep boop boop.
I'll call them back. Star 69.
You get the after just a moment. There's a tiny little delay, just a few seconds. You get that same uniform, generically beautiful, slightly stylish female face with a big smile. Hi, this is Fortune Station.
Yep, I'll smile too. Hi, this is Holly Blue. Sorry I missed your message.
Hi, Miss Blue. I'm so glad that you've here. Listen, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. There's been a slight irregularity in the count. So our protocol is now we just need to verify your identity. This is to protect you, as you understand. Security is quite important to us on Fortune Station. So if you can just turn your ship back around, please, and allow us to conduct the verification. Thank you.
Can't do that right now. Heading out on a very important diplomatic mission. When we get back, I will swing back around and we'll sort all this out. Trust me, it's of the utmost importance to the Gateway Republic.
Hi, Miss Blue. As you're aware of, Fortune, we're an independently registered entity, and we have complete sovereignty over this section of space. And it's quite important that we verify your identity. So please, if you can just turn your ship around, and we'll be with you in just a moment. We're really sorry for the delay.
Can't do that. So we can sort this out when I get back. Don't understand why your protocol would infringe on my freedom of movement. So why don't you send your boys back, and I'll get with you after this is all over.
I feel like this is triggering an intimidate or a manipulate. What do you think, Sakimi?
How about a manipulate?
Trying to convince her not to follow her protocol.
Yes.
Do you think that's a fair call on the trigger?
Yeah, right. She's got her job to do.
Yes, I mean, it's trying to use promise, guile or charm.
I'm being super friendly.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to say this triggers a manipulate. So Sakimi, what's your intent?
My intent is to get her to agree to meet with me when I get back into system, and then I'll sort it all out and it'll all be fine then.
Okay, awesome. And that we agreed on the trigger. The consequences are on this one again, nothing explicit. No, actually 7 to 9, there's a little bit of gray there. And then 6- would be my move. And so do you understand the consequences?
Do
Okay, cool. And this looks like a straight up plus slick.
I we suck. I can't roll anything above a 6. Hey, do I get an XP?
Not yet, but keep track of it. Sure, you can mark it now.
It never fails. Every roll.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me look at my list. Okay, Sakimi, the uniformness of her response makes you wonder if this is a human you're talking to or actually a very advanced interactive construct. She continues to reply back with a big smile and being just a tiny little bit firm and just saying, please, can you please turn around and remember this is an independent part of space and Fortune is allowed to protect you. I mean, you notice that the fighter has now accelerated quite a bit and it is burning extra fuel in order to close. You don't necessarily want to tangle with a Fortune registered fighter, especially not this close to Gateway, especially not with a transponder on. What do you do?
Jimby, do you think they have visuals on us?
Let me check.
Captain, I'm going to shut off the transponder.
I cut the comm link, and I don't allow that command to go through just yet. But I do cut the comm link to Fortune before I ask Junbi my question. I don't allow Talon's command to go through.
Okay, so comlink down. Talon, you'll know. Captain gets a confirmation on any big important thing. So Talon, you can queue up the turn off if you want. Yes,
No, I'll wait. I won't try to override or do anything silly.
but do you want to at least put it into the system?
Yeah. I'm going to have it queued up there for her to click the button on.
Okay, awesome. So Sakimi, you definitely see that override requested confirm question mark thing pop up, and you're not doing anything. Junbi, over to you.
Let me see here. What can I do here? Nope. I mean, the only thing I can really think to do is scope it out to try to determine, yeah, I would need to get a sense of the ships, and then look them up in registry, see
Tell
what
us
their
the
specs are.
intent first. So don't worry about the move. Like what is Junbi's intent right now? Just briefly.
My intent is to determine the capabilities of the fighters that are coming in.
Okay, well I can tell you that for free. So they are it's a fighter. It's faster than you are. They all have a little bit of armor, and this one has straight lasers. The issue is not. It's like a cop car, right? There's a cop in there, and there's a gun. The issue is not so much the fighter. It's the fact it's registered, and you're in very settled space. So yes, it's a physical threat a little bit. Could probably blow up a fighter. But do you want to?
Right. No, I meant more of its scopes. Like, if we turn off our
Oh, sorry.
transponder, are they going to be able to see us?
Yeah, I'll tell you this for free as well.
Like, visually.
Uh, coin toss. The only way you will get away is to turn your transponder off. And then there's a chance they lose visual on you. You've been moving away steadily the whole time, right? It's not like you guys are sitting there, so you're still moving away. So there's at least a reasonable chance of you losing visual, especially if you like turn the transponder off and then cut hard a different direction and dive quick.
Okay. Daimo, I think our only option is to cut the transponder. I don't think we're going to outstrip these things. And, yeah, I think it's our only option.
So there's a single
I
fighter
will.
in front, and then there's a shuttle lagging far behind.
Yep. I will swipe the command to kill the transponder, and then I will bank hard to try to get towards the shipping lane.
Okay, awesome. So the transponder vanishes. On your heads-up displays, you see what was Gateway registered ship GTW 3492 just disappears. The blip from the screen, bloop, and then the ship itself shudders as it gets put into a hard move.
Hey, Junbi, can you find me somewhere to land outside the capital? Not necessarily backwater, but not necessarily suburb,
Certainly.
but nearby.
Understood, Daimo. I start crunching through maps, trying to find something that'll get us nearby, and we could maybe take a train in.
Yeah, awesome. So Touchpoint's a huge city. It is the government capital. It's a very high-tech kind of green city as well. You all know it pretty well. And sure, there's lots of residential housing and other non-residential stuff outside of that. So you can kind of take your pick. Um, at the moment, hold on a second here. We need a little randomness. Okay. So I'll ask you a question, June B. Do you want to land during the day? Do you want to land in the afternoon or evening? Or do you want to land in the middle of the night?
Um. Let's do a nighttime landing.
So you're lucky. Your intercept course, your course right now, taking you to what's vaguely outside of Touchpoint, it will be nighttime.
Okay. Great.
Okay, you have a couple minutes as the ship banks hard, commingles itself with the rest of the other traffic. Actually, I'll give you a choice. You know, the longer you are without your transponder and the longer you are around other ships, the more of a chance that people notice what you're doing. So you can choose to mingle with other traffic. You can choose to be completely by yourselves. What do you do?
Is there anything funky with transponder? Like, I know in Star Wars you have to have like a second one, and it's very expensive. Is it easier to do that in SWN, or
Yeah, we've
is
been
that just
using the
not even a
Expanse
thing?
for this so far, where it was a big hardware change that only a military ship could do. That civilian transponders essentially had no way to do that. So this one in this ship now, no, you can't mess with. But could you
Perfect.
upgrade it to the future to have a changeable one? Sure.
All right. Um, do we have any sense of where that fighter is? Is it still on our tail? Is it hunting and pecking? Do we
Uh,
know what
it
it's doing?
it continued to fly straight in the same direction that you were headed. So you are slowly getting further from it.
All right, and where is there any place to land besides the capital? Like near the capital? Does it have to be in a big spaceport, or how does that usually work?
You can land wherever you want. You're supposed to A, have a transponder on, B, accept the hail from customs as you're landing, and then C, land in a spaceport. But you don't have to do any of that because physically you can touch down wherever you like. All of a sudden, you're in a car with a bunch of unknown stuff and you're on the wrong side of a big international border. So, sure, you could find another way across it. That's not too hard, but you know, there's potentially consequences.
How far do we have to get us to where we would land and then be able to turn the transponder on still, like we were having problems with it or something?
You mean to flip it on before you land or to turn it on
Yeah,
afterward?
like to continue flying with it off. Could we reasonably get enough distance from the fighter to where we could turn it on, and still be able to be in some sort of reasonable landing pattern, or would it be like
Yeah,
you're like
absolutely.
just about landing?
Rather than choosing to land with the transponder off, you could choose to just leave the transponder off for long enough to make sure the fighter's clear and then turn it back on before you land.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do the math of. Just like just do the quick calculations of, well, Captain, if you keep the transponder off for 3 more minutes, I think you can keep and the fighter doesn't start following us, we should be good to turn it back on.
Yes,
Yeah,
there is. Go ahead.
and try to get fully out of Fortune's space.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Get into the planetary.
So yes, you can. I do feel like you're keep looking to me, and that's okay. But I am gonna say that if you turn your transponder on and allow Fortune to know which city you've landed in, it's possible Fortune has a relationship with local law enforcement and may be able to do something about it. If you land with your transponder off, then Fortune won't know where you are. That's the choice you need to make. Fortune's interactions with Gateway are a little shady and nebulous. Most people don't know how the independent billionaire space orbital interacts with the government.
Yeah, they have money, so probably very well.
Yeah, just keep the transponder off, Captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. All right, find us a spot to touch down. We can hitch a ride into the capital. Um, Calvin, how often does a transponder get damaged? Can you simulate damage?
I mean, well, now it's more like a story of how it gets damaged. They're actually built not to be damaged, so it's kind of
Yeah.
tough, but it happens. Yeah, like anything
And,
else.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we can just damage it.
Yeah, no, I can simulate damage. So I mean, it
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the simulated damage that would probably get you in trouble. It would be the story and the lying to the officials when they were having the conversation with you.
Oh, hold on a sec. I will try to communicate with Bohai, Space Master.
Yeah, absolutely. You're able to take a moment and open up the comms. You reach Bohai if you want.
Okay. Hello, friend.
Hi, Sakimi. Great. Are you on your way?
Yes, having a little trouble with Fortune Station. They seem to think they need to talk with me, and they're not taking no for an answer. And I don't know where I can land safely without their arm reaching me. Is there any way you could assist?
Yes. I want you to get here quickly. Like I said, if it waits until the morning, then I think the trade consulate's going to have to pick another captain. So I do want you here quickly. And I've worked in trade and commerce a lot, and it's not like I've landed in spots where that smugglers use, but certainly I've heard of a few. So I can direct you there. It's a little bit out of the city, but listen, it's far from the city, so you're gonna have to do nothing but get into the city as fast as you possibly can after you land there, or else we're gonna lose this job. There's essentially no time left on the clock. So yes, I can direct you there, but it's quite a distance out of the city, and you're gonna need to get straight here. No other issues. And he's looking nervous. Sakimi, I've mentioned this a few times.
Yeah,
Bohai's like a pretty calm guy. Like, he's getting more nervous the more times you contact him.
yeah, the more shit I pile on. Worst captain ever. Can't roll above a 6.
Well, he gets what he pays for.
Yeah. So just out of game by Bohai's response, would that be to get transport in, or would that be to, after I land, maybe turn the transponder in on and then come into the capital?
No, he's
What is-
he's so I can answer this to the character in game, right? What you want to do is if you're telling me your transponder, I think you're telling me, Sakimi, your transponder's off right now.
Yeah, it needs to be.
Okay, so your transponder's off. You're worried about Fortune seeing you, so you need to go to the edge of the mountains. You need to find one of the spots where the smugglers are. You'll be totally outside of city limits at that point, so it's going to take you a little bit while to like get private transport unless you got your own. In order to get to the edge of the infrastructure, and from there you can get a fast tube straight in. But if you want to land transponder off, you're going to have to do it outside a city limit, or else anybody that sees where you land is potentially going to call the authorities.
Right. We'll be there as soon as we can.
Please do. And he hangs up.
Alright, how big is the hover cycle?
Well, you've squeezed two people on it in the past. Akira and Alexander rode together for a while.
Based on previous description, I probably wouldn't put more than 2 people on it, though.
2 people, including a Vash?
Oh boy, he's big.
That's
Let's
the right
ask him
Vest.
that question. Vikesh, how comfortable are you riding on a small modern hover bike?
Well, I mean, it's okay if I'm standing in the saddle. You know? But yeah, sitting down on it normally is not great, and I definitely wouldn't want to do it with somebody else.
Okay.
Okay,
Alright, then
so
we will head to those coordinates with the transponder off.
awesome. So you've entered the space and landed into Gateway many times. This is potentially the first time you've ever done it. A, in a ship that was being pursued. B, that turned its transponder off. C, that was going to land in an unsettled part of Gateway. Talon, have you ever had this experience before?
No. I've always used family wealth to keep myself out of trouble. I've never actually had to break the law this way.
June B?
I'm relatively I'm relatively comfortable with this type of law breaking, yes.
And has June B done this before?
Specifically landed a Off the record shuttle? No.
Vcash.
Similar enough to a combat drop, isn't it?
And
Don't exactly plan to Sorry.
no,
Go
go ahead,
ahead.
Vcash. Sorry.
Yeah. You don't exactly put your transponders on when you're trying to land an actual raiding party.
Okay, that's a good answer. Feels a little bit like that. Maybe less shooting so far. And Sakimi.
Yeah.
This might be the first time Sakimi's piloted a ship into a planet's atmosphere.
Oh wow! On top of that.
I took off the last time and hit the station, but yeah. So there's that.
Sakimi, I'd say because of that, the camera's on you. Take us down.
All right. So Sakimi follows the coordinates that were sent to us by Bohai. He kind of sent it up. It popped up on one of the panels that Sakimi's in front of. She seems to be sweating. Her hair is pulled back in a bun. Looks like she's gripping the yoke, and her knuckles are white. And she is trying to buffet the ship against the atmosphere as we fly down and towards the mountains.
Awesome. Okay, so the scene doesn't look exactly like this. You're in a mountainous area just outside a touch point, the large, bustling capital of the planet of Gateway. And Gateway itself is the largest planet in Gateway system and claims sovereignty over a number of other systems around it, which it calls the Republic of Gateway. You're in the mountains. You're not deep in the mountains. You're at the edge of the mountains, but you come in such a way that you're obscured essentially from the city itself. So you try to never draw a straight line between the city and where you're landing. So you're essentially over at least one ridge. And it's kind of remote. As you come in, you do see the flickering lights because it's nighttime of a few very small dwellings. And it looks like at the foot of this mountain is a village. It's going to take a little while to get to the village once you decide to set off. But you're confident that once you get to that village, you can connect one part of the transport system to another and eventually get you there. But like Bohai said, he wanted you to hurry, so you figure you have until about dawn. It's a few hours after midnight. What do you do?
All right, guys. Sakimi, as she's powering down the ship and getting it secured and kind of ready for atmosphere, standing up from the bridge chair. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. I'll head out on the speeder bike to get there as soon as possible. Meet with a contact. If you all could batten down the hatches here, and then meet me in the village, because that's where we'll be coming in from the transport.
You need backup?
You should at least take.
All right, Talon. Yeah, Jimby, make sure the Mistress is locked down, okay? You and Vikesh, follow us once everything's ready. Get into the village. Talon, yeah. When you hop aboard, I don't think Vikesh would be comfortable.
Cool.
All right. And then I will pilot because we have one. We have a hover cycle.
Nice.
Do you have a hover cycle? Some previous captain of this ship has equipped it with many things that they had needed.
Like racing stripes?
Roger.
Okay, cool. So let's split it into two really quick. First, I want to confirm that Vikesh and Junbi, you're agreeing to stay back on the ship and then close it up and head down to the village. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Vikesh? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, he's not here.
Yep, sorry, I was on mute because I was eating potato chips. Yes, affirmative from my side.
Okay, awesome. Didn't want to assume anything. Okay, and Sakimi, it sounds like you and Talon hop on the cycle together. Talon, first of all, who's driving?
That's Sakimi.
Okay, Talon, tell me about squeezing in behind Sakimi on the hover cycle.
It's a little awkward. I mean, I actually, I've driven cycles myself before, but I've always been in the rider's seat, so it's always it's sort of like wrapping your arms around and I sort of go to put my arms around and then see what sort of signal I get on whether I should just try to hang on to the bike. But if she doesn't, if she doesn't like react, I'll put my arms around.
She seems focused on getting the bike ready to go and looking at the controls.
Okay, so it's a little awkward, but I do end up doing the the backseat arms around the belly.
Sakimi, how many gear slots do you have, and what do you have loaded in those gear slots? Talon, you as well, and we got to put your gear slots on your character sheet.
Quick question before I answer that.
Yep.
The capital, is there a restriction on weapons?
No combat armor and no two-handed weapons, so pistols are fine.
Alright, pistol, shields, comm device, tactical pack, and my dignitary badge of office.
I think that's more gear slots than you have.
Nope, 2 of them are inconsequential, so they don't take a gear slot.
Awesome!
The comm device is inconsequential, and the badge is.
So the pistol and the shield are taking slots.
And the tactical pack.
Because you have 3 slots.
Mhm.
Lovely, that's very good. Okay, and Talon should have 3 slots also, right?
Everyone starts at 3.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. So what are the 3 things you're taking, Talon?
So Talon does not bring his shotgun. He brings the pistol instead. He brings his tac pack and his scanner and his communicator as well.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and you go zooming down. So it's a very slight rocky ride for a moment, but you're on a hover cycle, so it's no problem. And after a little while, you pass a town. Maybe you wonder for a second how those 2 are going to get along in the village, but that's at least your concern. The town's obviously connected by a pretty good road to a larger town, and eventually a city, and eventually the highway. You taking the hover cycle all the way in?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll leave Sakimi and Talon clutching each other closely together. Sakimi, you going fast and really careful? You going normal to blend in, or are you trying to get there ahead of the deadline?
If I think so, I'll pull up the little map overlay, and if I think I can get there before dawn, going normal speed, I will. Otherwise, I'll go fast. Like with time to spare, if I think I can get there comfortably before dawn, normal speed.
Okay, and you go a little quicker than you'd prefer to in order to make sure you're there well ahead of time. And you're zooming then into the big modern metropolis, lights and neon flashing in front of you, and heading into the heart of the city. All right, let's look at Vikesh and Junbi back on the ship. So, you've been given a very direct order by Captain Sakimi. You've got some time on your hands. What do you do?
Well, let's I guess we finish powering down the ship. Grab any gear that we're gonna take with us, which is pretty much what I already got on me, as far as I'm concerned. And then take a stroll down to the village.
I think we should. Yep, we expedite the powering down of the ships. That way we can get walking, and I can start digging through that data dump.
Well, I'm not going to expedite the shutdown. I want to do it properly, not rush anything. Get it all done by the book. But that shouldn't take nearly long enough for us to be slow getting to the village.
I think you guys have plenty of time.
Yeah, you guys are hours on a motorcycle from the city, so yeah.
Okay. It's so yes, you do the right thing. Takes about 15 minutes to shut the ship all the way down. And wow, you can go out the side door or the bottom hatch or whatever you want. You don't have to do any weird decontamination procedures. The air here breathes normal. My gosh, you're home, back on your home planet. Always good. As you step out into the very late night, early pre-dawn evening, Vikesh, what do the mountains look like?
In the midnightish sort of pre-dawn, it's it's a rugged terrain. Like have you if you've ever been driving west across Colorado, and you get to like Fort Collins area, and you can just see the Rockies. The capital city is like that. It's like on the plain in front of it, and then just there's a couple of foothill areas, which is where we are, and then you get huge mountains right behind us. It's like a giant, almost barrier wall.
Awesome. You hike for a little bit. I don't think it matters too much how long. Junbi, what's a village like?
Let's see. This is on the home planet. Ooh. Trying to be creative, but I'm going to come up with something bland, I fear. I'd say that the village is predominantly, prefabbed buildings that were fabbed, several, I'd say like 100 years ago. So, that at their very bones and their very roots, they're the kind of very simple concrete kind of poured in circles structures. But over time, growth, nature has basically colonized it. There's vines creeping up all over the building sides, and trees, very tree densely populated tree area. I don't know. I can't think of anything right now.
No, that was good. I like the prefab. I like the overgrown and reclaimed tall forest at the edge of the steep mountains. It's more or less dawn by the time you come in there. Vikash, who's stirring in the village, or where do you go?
In the pre-dawn, there's actually for more activity than you'd think, because this is sort of out onto the plain, like near the forest. It's more of an agricultural area. So there's people getting up to start working on the get out into the production area. That's like a little bit further, a little bit further towards the forest than the village itself. There's like the workers floating around, and there's a lot of them are stopping at like a little cafe for coffee that exists there. It's almost like a Welsh mining village kind of feel.
So definitely a spot where they're caffeinating in the morning.
Yes.
Junbi, are you going in the cafe? And if you are, how do they react to somebody who's a little bit swishy from the big city with the special eyes?
I'd say that they roll their eyes. They're like, this kid, he's probably just out here on some, expensive tourist bullshit. He probably hasn't worked a hard day in his life, and they all just have kind of disdain, but generally polite.
And what does last question for Junbi, what does Junbi order?
Junbi orders a 16-ounce soy replica Costa soda.
Do they have it?
No. So instead, he just gets some basic drip coffee.
Vikash, you're a guy who carries around a lot of gear sometimes. I'm less worried about the gear slots because you're not too far from the ship. But I mean, talk to me about armament or weapons.
Say that again, please. You're going a little fast for me.
Sorry. You often carry around a lot of gear. Are you wearing heavy armor or carrying big weapons?
Where I am wearing my armor, but with like like a trench over it. And I do have I do have a shotgun with me, but I put it in a bag.
As you do.
Like you do.
Classic.
Yeah. Otherwise, the stuff that I have on me is pretty negligible. The melee weapon is small and extendable. Well, it's not. Everything else is pretty easily hidden.
Awesome, VCast. Same two questions. So, how do the locals react to the extra burly Vesk?
They steer very clear of the mountain of reptile flesh. I clearly make them nervous.
And do you order anything at the cafe? And if so, what?
Just a bottle of water, please.
Okay, we'll end that scene there and we'll zoom in on Sakimi and Talon as they are pulling up to an address of a very formal trade embassy. This is the Gateway Official Trade Embassy. This is the capital city, so it's a very big and bustling place. And just before dawn, which is the right time to get there, you can see a couple things. The city itself is definitely starting to wake up. You know, the city never sleeps, but by the trade embassy, it's not that hopping at 4 o'clock in the morning. So there's definitely some people starting to come in and out of the very big, formal, modern structure in front of you. As always, in the capital of the gateway, very modern. Lots of glass, lots of green, lots of nice little waterfalls on buildings and birds fluttering overhead, like a very super green future tech city. So two things. So there's some people starting to go in and out of the building, and there's very definitely a public entrance. And out front is Bohai. What do you do?
We'll pull up, kickstand the hover bike, and get off and start walking towards him. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. Thanks for making it. I'm going to be brief. Let's go inside and meet and meet the contact now, the counselor. Like I said, he's going to be pretty straightforward and pretty official. I think it's a pretty straightforward job. Help him however you can, because I'm always suspicious that he's trying to do more than he's letting on. But just roll with it and help him out, and just try to get back here in one piece. It means a lot to me if we can complete this.
Of course. Thanks for the thanks for the tip. Sakimo just kind of wave Talon on. And we'll walk in.
Okay.
Bohai glances up nervously at Talon. You see him kind of pause for a moment, Talon. And what do you do?
Talon just gives him a nod and just follows the captain, without really much thinking about it.
All right, Bohai is quite happy with that. He was not sure he wanted to ask any questions more than he needed to know, or shake any hands of anybody he didn't want to know. So he's playing it straight. And you enter the huge modern foyer. There's a public waiting area. And Bohai starts to go in through the very high-tech security center. Very high-tech.
We're following him then. Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah, he's welcoming you into the building. Super high-tech scanners, ID checks, and all that kind of stuff. And Bohai just breezes straight through. It's going to look for any kind of weapons, and it's going to check official ID. So, Sakimi, what are you doing?
I'll follow the protocol. If it's like, if it seemed like we should have left our weapons in the hover bike, would have done that.
That's safest. So they'll definitely take a weapon and store it. It's a little uncomfortable, but it's not illegal. If you want to avoid that uncomfortableness at all, then yeah, you can stick it in the bike.
I would have left it in the bike then. So then I would have shown them my official ID.
Okay, awesome. Talon, you notice it flashes up, big picture of Sakimi Taylor, etc., etc. Sakimi, as always, they linger for a moment. Over your ID.
It's not Holly Blue. It's my real ID.
Yep, get it. They linger for a moment over your ID. Sakimi, you're in the capital of Gateway. And you've got a bit of a background. So they hover for a moment, but everything flashes green and you can walk through.
I'm not exiled from the city, so.
Yep, agreed. And Talon, any weapons on you?
Yeah, Talon carries his pistol, unless he was told not to. So he sort of just goes, yeah, I'm going to walk in with it like, oh, Oh, I gotta hand it in. Okay, so then you'll hand it in there.
Yep, just a low-level flash, nothing terrible, no big alarms. A security guy comes over. He's done this a tons of times before. Double checks the ID. Talon, do you have a criminal background, or are you using your normal identification?
Nope, using my normal identification, no criminal background.
Okay, so Sakimi,
Oh.
there's one vote on some of your new crew. This guy's clean. He gets waved through, and yes, they're happy to hold the weapon.
Yep.
Okay, so you're in the foyer, and very quickly you're introduced to Counselor Buposo. Let me paste that in.
You have a picture?
I don't
I like
right
that
now.
name.
No.
Oh, weak. Just kidding.
Counselor Buposo, he's a quiet man in purple robes. He's a trade delegate. He's very neutral when he meets you, and quickly jumps into explaining what's going to be happening. Thank you. Greetings. Captain, he says, and kind of looks at Talon.
I'll speak up. Captain Taylor.
Excuse me, Captain. And he doesn't reach out or anything. Captain, as you know, this is an official trade visit. We're going to be heading to Tide. I have a trade negotiation to complete to the benefit of the Republic of Gateway, of the Gateway system, and of course to Tide system. I don't anticipate it should take too long. So what I need a captain and a crew for a ship that's able to jump through spike space, get me to Tide safely, and then just wait while I conduct the negotiations. Once they're complete, we can spend a little bit more time in Tide if we like. I have one or two more few things to do, but only another day or two, and then we turn around and head straight back. For that, we'll be happy to pay, and we'll work out the details of that. And also, you're helping the Gateway Republic, so we'll remember this. Any questions?
No. Will it just be you on board?
It will just
And
be
your cargo?
It'll just be myself, and I have 1 ton of cargo.
All right. And we're parked up the road a little bit. How will we be able to get that cargo to my ship?
Sure. Well, the cargo, I've preloaded the cargo already. I mean, it's pre-staged and ready to go. It's at the Touchpoint spaceport, so we can be ready to leave from there at any time.
Oh, I'm just thinking.
Sakimi's like,
If it's just 1 ton, can we get it on a truck? Like I said, we're not in the spaceport. It might be faster if we just drive up the road on a truck.
Sakimi as background. That's
Highly irregular.
tricky to explain, perhaps suspicious. So
Okay.
you're welcome to say it. I just want to make sure you understand the consequences.
No. I think we can risk flying in. All right. So I won't say that.
So any questions? Are we ready to go? I can meet you in an hour. I've been waiting for a few days to meet you.
I apologize for the delay.
When Sakimi pauses for a minute, I chime in. Cap, I am going to need to do a little bit on the ship before we can take off. I might need a little time. Not too long. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll meet you in an hour, and we'll hopefully be ready to go at that time. I do apologize for the delays.
That's fine. So just so I'm clear, I'm gonna meet you and we're gonna unload the cargo at the spaceport in 1 hour from now, right?
Yes.
Oh, wait, I do the math of us driving back to the ship and then going back. How long would that take us?
More than enough.
I'll have Jinbi fly it in.
Oh, okay. So you could Junbi fly the ship in and land it in an hour?
Oh yeah, no problem. He can
cool.
get to outer space in an hour. He can get across the city in an hour.
Okay. I don't say anything.
Great. And he looks at Bohai and bows quite deeply. Thank you so much, Citizen Bohai. It is a great service that you're helping us do. And he turns and he looks at Sakimi and Talon, and Counselor Buposo bows again. He's got purple, almost kind of robish clothing on. It's like a suit, but kind of in a roby style. It flows a lot. It's very drapey, big long sleeves. And he's got a shaved head. And he bows very deeply when he looks at Sakimi and Talon and says, "Thank you for assistance. I'll see you in an hour."
I'll bow formally back in whatever seems to make sense.
Talon mirrors his bow fairly well.
Okay, awesome. You've seen it tons of time before. It's a government official Buddhist high class greeting. And he turns and vanishes back into the building. You're left with a very alert, very cautious Bohai, Sakimi's good companion.
Alright, I'll get on my communicator and take a few steps away for a second and call Junbi.
I answer, very exasperated because the coffee just finally got cool enough to drink. I had just started in on the data, and I'm like, "Yes, Captain."
Junbi, change of plans. We're gonna need you to power up the ship, get the transponder on once you're within visual range of the city, and land in the docking area that I'm sending you.
Anything you say, Daimo.
Thank you. You can fly. Do you have a slick rating at all?
Yeah, I'm pretty slick.
Hey, you're probably a better pilot than I am.
I think I'm slick. Or am I calculating? I'm okay at slick. I'm better at calculating.
That's
Can
okay.
I calculate the ship?
Nope, you can slick the ship, but that's okay. You'll be fine.
Let's fly casual.
Yeah, fly casual.
Okay, Sakimi and Talon, you have a little while. First quick question, do you want anything else from Bohai?
Yeah, do you have any contacts in Tide? We're not gonna have time to pick up cargo here, but if there's any cargo in Tide that we could bring back, obviously we do the standard split.
I mean, I am a trade executive, not working in that actively now, and you have an hour and you're in the major spaceport in the major city, so we can load you with cargo pretty quick.
Okay, as long as we can do it quickly.
Do you have funds in order to purchase some goods?
Yeah, we sold an illegal mech and we have millions of dollars. But then we changed game systems, so.
Yep, yeah, I'll take that as enough capital. Let's remember that. There's kind of one unit there. Great. Do your magic. Look it up on the mercantile exchange. Tell me what you want to purchase, and as long as it's routine, nothing exotic, I'm pretty sure we can get it loaded in an hour. So,
yeah, I was thinking more Tide. Yeah, I'll probably pick something up on Tide. Never mind.
Okay,
I can't.
Fair enough.
I can't spend time.
You have limited time here, so I agree. You're not gonna be able to get anything too fancy.
Yeah, no. All right. No, I think we're good. Thanks for the help on this one.
One final time, so I can say it. Bohai nervously looks and thanks you profusely, and then kind of quickly shuffles away.
Any reason we should be nervous about this cargo or anything?
I'm going to engage a hook.
Oh wow! So wait,
Talon. I've been.
Let's not interrupt Talon in the conversation.
Nope, absolutely
not. Talon, are you asking Bohai?
Yeah, I'm asking Bohai. Just his nervousness finally got to me, and I'm like, hey, dude.
His eyes widen for a second and then relax, and he says, "The cargo you're carrying? No, I'm nothing unusual about the cargo you're carrying." He leans in a little closer and says, "It's medicine."
Oh, okay.
Don't let the counselor know I said that. It's not particularly secret. It's just he hasn't told you, but yeah, it's just medicine.
Okay, that shouldn't be a big deal then.
Sakimi?
Okay. I was gonna say you seem Tom's sort of naively going to go down. But you seem a little Well, I mean, it's probably just business, right? You just seem a little off. You okay?
I'm doing a great favor for a gateway government. I hope it completes quickly.
Oh, when I roll my 6 on my spike drive navigation, it won't.
Sakimi, you're talking something about a hook or anything, or are we moving on?
No, I was going to keep ignoring it, but Talon brought it up, so I don't think it's valid anymore.
Okay, cool.
I had good reason to keep ignoring it. It was on purpose.
We'll keep the camera on you guys for a little bit more. You certainly have a little bit of time in the big old capital city, and Sakimi, it's been a long time since you're in the capital city. Is there anything else you want to do?
Yeah, I'd like to get to the loading bay where Junbi's going to pilot the ship in, and I'd like to check things out and see what's going on there, make sure the cargo's there. Oh yeah, I would also like to radio Junbi and let him know. So who took that big stateroom that I was staying in? On the ship, on the Harsh Mistress.
I probably did because it was not the captain's room, right?
Yeah,
the captain's was the locked room. I took the other big room.
Yeah, so I radioed Junbi. I'm like, hey, can you have Vikesh move Talon stuff out of that room and into one of the smaller free rooms, and just kind of, make that room nice. We're taking aboard a distinguished guest.
Certainly. Certainly, Daimo. Would you... I will be happy to do that.
Okay, Talon. Sakimi, I understand your intent. Talon, is there anything else you intend to accomplish in this big, bustling capital city in the brief time that you have?
No, all Talon wants is to get himself like a good lunch. Hit an early lunch at a noodle place that he likes from one of the other times he's been here. So he sort of asks if we can stop off and grab some lunch quick, because you don't always get good food like you do in the capital.
Okay, question. I think it's an interesting question. Sakimi, I think you're being asked, can we take more time and eat some fast noodles?
Sakimi will say, no, go ahead, just meet me in the cargo bay when you're done.
So I'll drop her off, and then I'll just take the bike over and grab some. You want some? They're great. Top notch.
No, that's okay.
Okay, I'll get some anyway. Talon's gonna get himself some and some extra. If the captain does need it, he'll palm it off on somebody. Or leftover noodles.
How many units are you buying? You consume 1 unit.
I'm gonna buy 2 units of noodles.
All right, there we go. Sakimi, the spaceport is big. It's actually not quite as big as the one that you're used to back on High Cape, because that is the official industrial shipbuilding spaceport. But the capital city also has a spaceport. This one's really clean. The ships are really high class, and it's easy for you to, with your correct ID and authorization, get to the landing dock with the associated cargo. And yes, after a little while, some completely generic uniformed government cargo loaders show up. Not Counselor Buposo yet. So it looks like things are going smoothly.
All right. I'll also talk with the dock master and just say, hey, Harsh Mistress is coming in. Just want to make sure the pattern is clear and that things can go smoothly. We're kind of in a rush. Not mean, but
he's completely uninterested in talking to anybody that's not hailing him from a ship.
Gotcha. Perfect. All right, then I'll make sure things are good on the ground.
Okay, the camera zooms back over to Vikesh and Junbi. The scene is you're still in a cafe if you want to finish up there at all, or you can jump straight in the ship. So Vikesh, what would you like to do?
If we got the call back from the ship, I'm just gonna stand up and have a bottle of water.
Junbi, any last business in the village?
No. Everything I need to do is on my tablet.
You two are feeling so healthy. Nice early morning hike, nice little bit of time relaxing in the village, a little bit of a sip, maybe a bit of an awkward chat. Maybe we'll have time to get into that later. And then a nice healthy hike back up into the edge of the mountains. Vikesh, this light exertion, is it pleasant for you?
Oh, yeah.
June
Oh
B.
yeah, nice, nicely drew walk, fantastic.
June B.
Actually, fairly okay. I Junbi keeps in shape, usually on treadmills and other exercise machinery, though.
Okay, back aboard the Harsh Mistress, able to do a startup. There's a big question, which is around turning the transponder on. When you turn the transponder on, you become instantly visible to anybody else that chooses another location. The government knows where you are, customs knows where you are, potentially Fortune Station knows where you are. You know, you show up on the big system-wide map that registers the location, heading, etc., of all other ships. You've perhaps never been in a situation where you've had to flip it on before, you know, outside of a big city, but still on a settled planet. So what do you do?
Uh, I'm going to suggest that we get up in the air, get near a traffic pattern, and then flip it on using the traffic pattern, then go land. But this is outside my realm of knowledge. Yeah, I'm a ground pounder. I don't fly these things.
Yeah, Sakimi did say to Junbi to turn it on before you land, so. But
Yeah,
she didn't
turn
give
it
you
on
any more
before land,
direction.
but after. At some point in mid-flight. So,
Okay, Junbi, sounds like you're in the command, so the camera's on you. My questions are: what's it look like when Junbi's piloting the ship? And tell me about the transponder when you're ready.
Junbi piloting the ship. I'd say that Junbi pilots the ship by he doesn't fly it himself. He looks around, finds some applications, some apps out there that's like autopilot that he can just kind of have, control the ship for him. Gets a free trial subscription and then punches in the coordinates and tells the ship to go.
Awesome. I totally agree with that. And the human being does need to make the decision around the transponder or not. Autopilot's not going to do that. In fact, you get a ton of warnings when you start everything up and when you try to engage autopilot.
I am proficient at hitting X's on warnings.
Okay, June B, talk to me about the transponder. I
Okay.
give you some decisions to make if you like, or just describe to me what you do.
My intention is to follow the Daimo's suggestion, which is wait for us to take off, and then when the autopilot says we're within, I don't know, 5 minutes. How long is the flight?
22
Tail
minutes.
end of the flight. All right, 5 minutes out, I turn on the transponder.
Okay, it's not hard for the ship to take off, and it does so quite smoothly. You lift off, and you're greeted with the vista that you can see on the picture there, coming from the mountains and approaching the city. Yeah, there's absolutely a steady flow of ships, of aircraft, mostly planetary aircraft, as in within the atmosphere, not spacebound. So you're kind of like a 18-wheeler that's pulling into traffic with a bunch of little commuter cars, but you can do that no problem. As you're doing that, you realize that it's quite obvious that there's this very large cargo hauling frigate without its transponder on, nestled into the rest of the civilian traffic. What do you do?
Oh, I'm feeling like pressure. I'm feeling eyes on me, is what you're saying?
Yep.
How much longer is the flight?
It was pretty quick getting into traffic, so 15 more minutes.
Daimo said right before landing, so I want to hold off. I want to be awkward about this. But no, then I think no, I can't do that. I can't do that because somebody's going to report us because somebody's probably bitching already. and then things would get really ugly. So I want to flip it on.
Boom.
Okay, you flip on the transponder. It's not a dramatic moment. You press a button, you confirm it, and now your ship is back on the screen. But somehow, maybe you feel a little better.
I do.
Okay. Hold on a second. Sakimi, you've been spending some. So the ship is getting close to landing. Sakimi, you've been spending some time here. And Talon, you come as well. And Talon, if you have a chance, just flip back to as Talon because you logged off for a second. Just so I get the picture right, no problem. Sakimi and Talon, based on your Sakimi A, little bit of experience trading things internationally, and B, Talon, your book knowledge of how all this stuff works, you realize that if you spend a couple more hours here in this station, you're going to be able to find a good deal on some relatively rare cargo, you think. So this will be pretty lucrative if you can pull it off, but it's going to take more time than the counselor was happy with. And oops, look, here's a counselor just arriving now as the Harsh Mistress is settling into its landing location. So the scene is the ship is landing successfully. Good job, Junbi and Vikesh. The transponder's on and didn't have any short-term consequences. Counselor Buposo showed up and he's got his cargo waiting. But Talon and Sakimi are quite sure that if you spend a couple more hours here, you're going to be able to fill up the hold with something valuable.
So Talon's sitting there with his data pad out, and he's slurping on some noodles, and he's like, Captain, and he's sort of pointing at the data pad. I think if I spent a little while working on the ship, as I point to like the cargo, I think we might be better off. I might be able to, get us properly maintained before we hit orbit.
Yeah, I'm well aware. I just with everything that went on with Fortune, I don't think it's good for us to linger. Sadly. Hopefully we can find something in Tide to bring back.
Fair point.
Once it's all off.
I can do what I need to do in transit. That'll get us flying quicker.
Alright, I will
Okay.
greet the ambassador, or counselor, rather. I'll greet him formally.
He nods and acknowledges the greeting. He's a little quiet, maybe a little curt, but never rude, but short.
Right.
Okay. Ship lands. It's pretty easy to take on a passenger and the cargo. He is quite curious around where he's staying, and he looks towards Sakimi.
Oh yeah, so I'll bring him aboard. Follow me. We have the stateroom all set aside for you, assuming this is out of game, assuming the two losers set it up like I asked them to.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't get the opportunity to say anything about it.
I told June B.
Yeah, so there are three things that a soldier can do very well: sleep anywhere, pack quickly, and make a bed really crisp.
Cool, okay, so that's all set up then. So I'll bring the counselor to the stateroom.
Awesome. Vikesh, which bunk did you pick for Talon? The top one on number one or the bottom one?
He's already there.
Oh, the top one. Yeah, that's very convenient.
Awesome. There you go. Okay.
And June B is squatting.
The counselor does not greet the rest of the crew. The counselor is expected to be shown to his room, and the counselor withdraws into his room immediately and closes the door.
Right. I'll exchange, obviously communications. Like if there's anything you need, let me know. The cargo is going to be packed away securely, and we'll get going as soon as we can.
Sakimi, the door pretty much closes in your face.
I meant as we're like walking up, and then he can close the door on my face. That's fine.
And then the generic government folks load on relatively small. It's a 100-ton cargo hold. And this is 1 ton of cargo. So, it's a pretty big box, but it's a pretty big box in a real big space.
Oh yeah, we'll bring the bike back on board, and once they're done loading, I'm gonna look for a way to get us out of here that steers us quite clear of Fortune.
Ooh.
That's your role that's bad, buddy.
I know, but I have to have a absolute scale, not a relative scale. So when I roll low, it's like you guys rolling low. When I roll high, it's like you guys rolling high. Sakimi,
Bullshit.
I it's not a roll I have to make. I'm just looking for some randomness. Sakimi, it's clear the straightest route out. And the one that's going to take the least amount of time puts you right through the flight path of near where Fortune Station is orbiting.
Yeah, not gonna take that. That's
Okay.
fine.
I always like to know where everybody's sitting. So Sakimi, where are you sitting? Are you in the captain's bridge console? Are you down in the pilot's chair?
Well, does someone need to be in the pilot's chair to take off and pilot? I assume yes, right?
Yes.
Okay, then that is where she is. Uh, she seems more confident and relaxed as we're getting underway, almost like she's done this many times. And when there's like a goal at hand to get underway in a mission, and a little bit different than when Talon and Vikesh first met. A very tired and haggard captain, and via my background, I gain a command point for getting underway for a mission.
Oh wow, look at that.
Oh,
Nice.
Junbi, I like that as well. Junbi, where you sat and like, what are you thinking? How do you look?
I'm sorry. What's the question?
Where are you sat physically in the ship as it's taking off? And what are you thinking or how do you look?
Oh, I mean, when the Daimo is on board and piloting the ship, I will be at my station at comms. Yeah. And I'm thinking, well, I'm ready to dive into this info dump that I got from
No time. We haven't had
fucking
downtime yet.
yeah, Mara, and I'm going crazy.
Junbi, you've had a few hours at the cafe, so yes, you have stuff to share. I'll share that with everyone just in a moment.
Oh,
So you're
great.
anxious to share this with the crew.
Okay.
Vikesh, where are you at and how do you look or what are you thinking?
Well, being the strong guy, I was helping with getting the cargo lashed down because the government guys wouldn't know where all of our hard points are and whatnot. And then when I'm done with that, I'm gonna hang out down in engineering with where Talon is, and yeah, give him ask about how things went in the city, and give him the rundown of how sort of like silly and but nice that the morning that Junbi and I had.
Awesome. To be clear, he's down in operations, which is 13. And if you scroll all the way down a bit, you'll see how 13 is under 6. So you're essentially underneath of the bridge down in the op center.
Yes.
And Talon, where are you and how do you look or what are you thinking?
Yeah, so Talon's heading down to the op center. On his way, he feels necessary. He's just curious about the cargo and the medicine. He sort of like looks on the outside of it. He doesn't pop anything open, but he's just sort of looking, scanning the outside of it, seeing if there's anything interesting. Yeah, but then he goes into the op center, checks on his auto cleaning bot, which is his little auto Roomba, which is cleaning the floors, and he sort of puts a full uh, one of those takeout containers full of noodles up on the thing because the captain didn't want it. And then when the cash comes down, I point over some good noodles, a little cold.
Is that Kim's Noodle House?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Captain didn't want them. I don't know.
Captain's crazy. And sit down and eat some noodles with my boy.
Awesome, fantastic. We got the upper deck and the lower deck vibe going. Okay, the harsh as always the ship shudders. Only slightly. The ship shudders as it applies enough thrust to get free of the atmosphere It happens pretty quickly. You're all pretty used to this by now. So very quickly, the scene outside of the windows turns into space. You're taking some extra time, but I don't know, Sakimi. Um, does the change of your flight path to a slightly less convenient route impact the ship or the mission or the counselor? Sakimi.
Yeah, no. She's thinking.
Mhm.
Uh, if the station, I think job. I would say no.
Okay,
I think
so
we took the appropriate risks.
it took a bit longer, but that's not something the counselor who's holed up back in his stateroom would notice. And you're out in space, and space is all around. Junbi, you're anxious to share some information with the rest of the crew, and there is some details from the footage. Can I share that with everybody now, Junbi?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Whoa.
Holy hell.
So this is video footage, right? The scene is a luxury apartment. This is the footage from the security system, which is obvious from the fisheye lens, the fixed overhead perspective, and the timestamp in the corner from a few months ago. The footage is on fast forward, mostly showing how sterile the white leather and chrome apartment is when it's empty. There's a flash of movement, the blue-haired occupant living her life mostly alone. She's comfortable here, and she has fun eating, drinking, dancing, and enjoying herself. There's a buzz of activity as she flits around the apartment, then more emptiness. The footage slows down as a stylish woman, looking younger than her age, enters again late one night. She's got company this time. It's immediately obvious who this is. He's an older man, a well-known Gateway Council representative from the military-industrial complex of the city of Keyhole. They drink and dance. They embrace. The footage fast forwards through some intimate moments. It slows again. He leaves the bed and enters an unseen room, perhaps the lavatory. She gets up quickly, naked and fit, and briefly rifles through his clothes. She pinches a pad from his jacket and walks it to her bedside table. She opens a drawer and pulls out a slab of electronics, holds his pad to it, and an activity light pulses red, then flashes green. She drops the unknown device back into her drawer, then lightly steps back across the bedroom and replaces his pad. He returns soon after. They embrace, and the scene fast forwards again. The footage is a blur of motion as he dresses and leaves. She is a blur as she moves from room to room. It slows again as she removes a painting from the wall and types an obscure code into a concealed safe. She opens the small but thick door and deposits the slab of electronics from her bedroom, then closes the safe and returns the painting. The footage speeds forward again, showing a few more weeks of routine activity. The last time she's recorded, she's seen opening the safe and tucking the same unknown electronic device into a small bag. She's dressed stylishly, but in a utilitarian flight suit. It looks familiar to a few of you. The timestamp on the footage shows Terran 1501-3192, the same day that Mara met Sakimi on Gateway.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Well, a lot of that is her business. But where was she going to set the new speed record again? Was it tied?
Hmm.
I forget.
She never mentioned if she was in a
Okay.
registered ship. It's easy to find out.
Yeah, Junbi, can you start poking at that? See where she went? There's probably a lot of media coverage around it. Maybe we can find out where she went. And I probably don't even need to tell you this, but can you find out who that gentleman was?
Certainly, will do.
You know, we got some time before we get to the outer system, so.
I feel like where a situation like that could get her into some trouble, though.
Yeah, she's very late, so I do have a bad feeling that she's gotten into some trouble.
That sure as heck looks like espionage, either governmental or corporate.
Yep.
Given he's a council representative, it's probably governmental.
Only good thing is, doesn't look like we gotten anything extra by going in and getting into that safe. Maybe there's other stuff in there, but
Yeah, there's a few identities, some cash, probably a handgun. Yeah, the normal things you find in secret safes.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Junbi, was that your is that like a friend or a boss or somebody just trying to help?
Who, Mara?
Yeah.
She's
You don't have
close,
to tell me.
she's close to many of us.
Okay.
Well, by many, I assume you mean a minimum of 50%, because there's two of you.
Oh, no, not the us here. My family back home. On Gateway. In Gateway? What's the capital city of Gateway? Is it Gateway?
You were just there. It's High Point.
Oh, okay. I don't think that's technically where I'm from, but anyway. No, not close to Sakimi. Close to my family.
Right on, then.
Touch point's the capital.
Alright, she's messed up in whatever she's messed up in.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I can't say that I'm surprised.
Well, we have a task to focus on. Let's get this
What's
cargo and this ambassador to where he needs to get to.
Yeah,
so?
what
What's that?
motive?
So
You
what's
go.
that company do? What was it? Like Key Point? Keyhole.
Keyhole is the military capital. Sakimi and Junbi may remember that the I'll speak broadly, trade that they brought to the first planet originated from Keyhole. And that was some of the original footage that you saw, and various other military stuff went there. So it's the capital of the Gateway Republic military, and there's a bunch of other military industrial complex businesses around it.
Okay, so they make lots of cool tech.
Yeah, they build guns and missiles and tanks and stuff.
Oh yeah. Read all about them. Oh yeah,
Possibly
definitely
even
know them.
submarines.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, if you can get something like directly, like, Keyhole Industries, like, that's a good weapon. Yeah. Except no substitutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Sakimi was prompting Junbi to get some info. I'm happy to do that now or do that later. It's really up to Junbi.
Yeah, nope. Junbi is always ready to go digging for some info.
Okay, so the first one's really easy to answer. No, there wasn't a lot of press coverage about it at all. It didn't seem like she was telling anybody else she was going to set that record. But as always, she's a very public figure, so it attracts notice. But she's in a registered ship with her transponder on, so the flight records are public. And her destination that she logged was Gansu, the system of Gansu.
Yeah. I think I actually have records of where she's been previously with these identities. Maybe. I don't know if Gansu is one of them. Yes, I do. She has a residence recorded in the capital city of Gansu, Darkham. And by the looks of it, it's a hefty one. Secret government clearance.
Oh.
Wow. I spent time in Gansu.
Or this, I've never been off planet. What's it like?
Don't fuck around.
Hmm.
Like if you think Gateway or even Fortune is uptight about quote law and order, don't go to Gansu. Make sure all of your permits for everything are lined up nice and tight.
Ah, so this ship has been was the one that. Yeah, that's right. That's right. This ship did the run. I remember that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you might be on Gansu and you want to go there, I mean, I've got a contact or two.
And then the second one was the gateway fella, but apparently we have public record on him already.
Yeah, so he's a well-known. He's the representative, so he is the duly elected member of the local council. He represents a very large, very wealthy electorate. That electorate is that city with all of the industrial, all of the military stuff happening there. So quite an important power. In fact, he's also the chairman of the military committee for the Gateway Republic. So not a military official, but the civilian government oversight over to the military. Super well known, a little bit older, and able to get other public information.
Okay.
Okay, you've got a few more hours on the inner belt before you get to the asteroid belt and sort of inner space. What do you do?
Well, if everything's quiet and nothing crazy is going on, I'm gonna try and teach Talon this tactical simulation that I was shown, where it's a board and it's got blocked into squares with some of them are black and some of them are white, and then you have these little guys that are the grunt soldiers and they move very slowly. And then the general also moves very slowly. But there are ships that move, they go forward and then turn left or turn right. It's a very interesting tactical simulation. Something that you should be thinking about, like trying to look at different aspects of life and not get caught up in too many things. Right?
Alan like just starts like really focused attention, like he's really getting into it, and he basically you can tell very quickly like this sort of like tactical games and stuff. It's right in his like wheelhouse. He takes to the game immediately and is very good at it. Almost to the point where you keep having to like kind of get his attention to like listen to what you're saying versus just playing the game, because he seems like he's teaching himself.
Excellent. So, what I would like to do with that is for you to lean on me. And I'm going to try to give you some good advice going forward for how to engage with life.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm going to make a stalwart roll. With a stalwart roll of 9, my efforts help you, and you have advantage going forward.
Yeah, so so Talon clearly is getting wrapped up in the game, but as you're talking to him, he sort of like intentionally breaks his like attention away from the game a little bit, and he does, he is listening, and like you definitely feel like your message is connecting, and he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, like he's hearing you.
Yeah, there's a implied thing there that I've noted, so it won't happen.
Yes. Yep. Yep, I was going to bring that up when the moment was over.
That was cool. Let me zoom in on Sakimi and Junbi for a moment. So that's down underneath in ops. What's happening up on the bridge, Sakimi and Junbi? You've got a few hours. What do you do?
For the inner belt.
Yes, Interbelt, before you're to the asteroids.
Yeah, I'd like to do that little research thing that I sent you and just keep an eye on everything to make sure that we're still flying clean.
Yep. Noted. Junbi?
um. What happens when I bring in a hook?
Well, as always, first just describe your intent.
Okay. Junbi, having recently cracked this little bit of information about Mara and being at a functional plateau, there's a waiting on more data, more information to parse, is getting a little itchy, and he's curious about this. He's curious about this guy that we've brought on board. Bonbasso? How do you pronounce his name again?
Buposo, Counselor Buposo.
Buposo. And kind of curious what's what he's up to in that stateroom of his. And maybe if I can even see what he might be messaging.
Wow. Okay, and do you feel like that triggers something?
I think that triggers my hook of always sticks my nose where it doesn't belong.
Okay, so noted on the hook, and does that intent trigger a move?
Hacking and cracking. You
Yep.
attempt to hack, break into, etc.
So let me describe it. So yes, so it's very easy to, because you're the comms officer, to tap into all of the systems related to that room. And yes, you can see him still in his purple robes. He's unpacked very neatly. The room looks pretty much immaculate. He hasn't really been doing too much. He's at the desk where Sakimi was making the comm call from before, and he's furiously typing at his data pad almost continuously, and it's a highly encrypted connection that you'd have to hack.
Okay. I am curious. And I generally don't have very high regard for Gateway officials anyway, considering what they've done to the rightful empire.
Okay, so I agree on the agree on the trigger. Understand the consequences. If you get a 7 to 9, something a little bit bad will happen. And if you get a 6 months, it's my move. 6 minus, it's my move.
Yeah.
Great game, Space Master.
Wow, this is really hard to hack. All right. Well,
Yes,
I've already
this is
committed.
this is like not a casual encryption. This is a government official, not an elected guy, but a government official. Medium to high ranking over a secure connection. So
And you have disadvantage because of your hook.
And you'll have disadvantage. Do you, knowing the consequences, do you want to proceed in the fiction?
No.
So you're not going to trigger your hook?
No. It's not worth it at the moment. It's too much of a risk for no discernible reward, but I want to. All right, no, I'll leave it be. Junbi overcomes the urge.
All right, hold on a second here. Let me read.
I was gonna say the hook could technically.
Yeah, because it gives him.
You could feel it.
Yeah,
it would just be.
Yeah.
It would just be on your next one. Not you decide. You decide not to do this, but it's really bothering you that you didn't do it.
Yeah, I think that's how it's supposed to feel.
I agree. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, you can't ignore it. Like if you choose to, like whenever you do have to make your next roll, but
Hooks come into play either when your character pursues their goal or ignores an opportunity to pursue it. Oh, I see. There's different categories.
Yes.
Let's figure
Yeah,
this out
there's
right now.
goal.
Must be higher up in hooks. When your hooks complicate your character's life,
There. I think I know what you're looking for. I don't remember the exact language either.
okay, let's just leave it for now because it's taking time. I think the question we all have is, does the hook trigger or not, regardless? But I'm going to say because there's no complication right now, it doesn't. We'll review that later. So June B,
Okay.
you're left agonizingly unknowing, correct?
Ugh, God, just like real life. Yeah.
Okay, the ship approaches the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt is always a slightly tricky spot. You've certainly had pirate encounters there before too. There's the Bree asteroid mining station where you all met, etc., etc. You pass by no problem, and you transition into the outer belt of space. Rather than just a couple hours, now it's going to take you almost 2 days to get so far away from the gravity well of the star in the middle of the Gateway system that you can successfully jump into metaspace. So over the course of those 2 days, we don't need to linger on every single moment. We've already had some role-playing close-ups this half of the trip. We've already had some hooks teased with and a few of the other things. So I'll just broadly ask, is there anything you want to do?
Would this be appropriate for downtime or no?
Let's do downtime in metaspace only.
Okay. I don't think anything special.
yeah. Alan,
Does our guy come out to eat?
So it's a great question. And no, for the first night, no. In the morning, you're getting hailed over the ship's comms from his room.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'll take breakfast now.
All right, come on. Ugh. Come on up to the mess hall. We'll all be there.
Thank you. I'll be taking it in my room. And the comm closes.
Are there still robots on this ship, or is that the old system?
There are still, yeah. So there are. We have never described it to Eric. There are 3 humanoid robots, very metallic-looking, old school, that help to automate manual tasks.
Think ice pirates.
yeah, no, I love it.
All right. When Sakimi goes to the mess to get her breakfast, she will bring a robot in and have the robot bring it to our guest. Because fuck that guy.
Sakimi, as always, you have a choice. The ship has been loaded with a very fixed amount of fresh food, or there's tons of the NutriPaste that you can put in the machine to craft any sort of NutriPaste wonder. What kind of breakfast is he getting?
Haven't we been gone for like a month? I'm pretty sure the fresh food is done.
No, you were down on the cargo bay. It loads really quick. That's very standard every time you land. You're in a major capital city, so you definitely have some fresh stuff, but it won't last
All right,
forever.
he'll get some fresh food then. That's fine.
Sakimi, what a good girl. Okay.
You don't want to piss off the paying customer.
Sakimi, that was a great question. Go ahead, Talon. My question to you, Talon, is just in general, what happens over that 2 days, and do you want to explore any of it? You don't have to.
No, yeah. So, Talon was going to take his little device that he has and make sure it gets moved over in sort of a secure area of the ops room. So he does move it in. He doesn't really mess with it, but he gets it in like a drawer over there. But then realizing that we have all these robots around, he loves robots. So he's going to start working, just start messing around on one of the robots, right? Making sure that its maintenance is up, seeing what he can do to tweak the software, making sure it's, it's running and operating as efficiently as possible. So he's just going to start messing with the robots.
Awesome. There is a picture. I'll drag it in later. Eric, I'm pretty sure you can click that link and see it.
Yep.
It's in the Harsh Mistress card on Trello.
Yep.
Okay, and if we want to turn that into something mechanical later, we can, Talus, but totally understood. Talon, these are old school, and like everything else on the Harsh Mistress, they were quite expensive and high tech when they were bought. That was like 15 years ago, so things have definitely moved on, but they're solid. And
Yeah.
they can do anything, but they do it without skill. So they can hold the stick and do a manual autopilot. They can do a bunch of stuff. They can't really do like higher level human thought or make hardcore decisions. But if you tell them to do this or that, like they do it no problem.
Alan seems pretty excited because they're old school and like pretty updatable. Even if he just wants to mess around with them, they're not the best tech, but he still seems pretty excited.
Awesome, I like it. Junbi, I'll ask you the same. It's about 2 days. You don't have to answer anything, but does anything notable happen?
Nah, Junbi is chilling out for the time being.
Trying to stay away from all dated devices. Junbi, you're still in comms contact with your friends. Are you chatting? Staying in touch?
Oh yeah, first yes, that's right. If I'm in comms, yes, it is constant. Catching up on old threads that I might have missed while I was out. Transmitting any of our previous data. Just in general, yeah. Constant contact with my family.
You feel nice and connected, Junbi. And Vikash, over that 2 days, does anything happen? Up to you.
Not really. Mostly I just sleep a lot and make sure that Talon is settled in and having fun, not getting bored. Yeah. Yeah. Casually chatting with Junbai or the captain if they happen to be around. Nothing major, but also nothing prying or personal.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
You're quite a distance into the outer belt. Junbi, the lag on your comms chat with your friends is quite significant. It's up to hours of time now, so it's more like an asynchronous communication rather than an always on chat. And anybody that's paying attention to any ship systems, you're less than a day from far enough out where you'd want to jump. You definitely notice something highly unusual on the ship's sensors. There is first 1, then 2, then 3, then 6, then 9, then 12, then dozens of Gateway Republic military Navy vessels who have jumped in from metaspace in many different locations around the edge of the outer rim. So in the outer belt, you'd expect to see like maybe a dozen ships slowly going off into distant locations, or maybe a dozen ships slowly coming back from different locations, and a couple of them being military. Within the course of about an hour, there's dozens of military ships. All have jumped in from different locations, all coming into Gateway Gateway system. They are Gateway Republic Navy official ships.
Are any of them near us?
Absolutely. There's a squad of frigate class ships. There's about 8 of them that have jumped in what I'll call the very natural location towards where you jump to tide. Now you could jump in and out from many different locations, but there's kind of a default path. So clearly they've jumped back from more or less where you're planning to jump out of, and they're heading towards the inner belt.
Hey Junbi, can you hail the lead ship?
Certainly. Opening channel with lead ship. Beep boop boop.
Hi, this is Captain Sakimi Taylor of the Harsh Mistress. Do you require any assistance?
This is REP frigate 4927. Acknowledge a contact, Captain. Negative. We are okay.
Great. Well, hopefully you see some smooth sailing. Good day.
Acknowledged. Out.
Bill, can I scan the ships to see if they have, basically understand what they are? Just partially geeking out over the technology, but also seeing if they're damaged or if they were in combat or what's going on with them.
Sure. So I'll give some of that for free. So these are frigate class hulls, mostly patrol boats. There are no cruiser class hulls. So roughly the same size as the Harsh Mistress, just packed much more with firepower. And they all have fighter escorts. So nothing like cruiser class or above. And no, in the fiction Talon, the cruiser class is pretty rare. There's just a couple of them. So it appears as if they're kind of combat squads jumping back from someplace, and there's lots of combat squads, and they're all jumping back in order to do information like weaponry or damage. We're going to have to go a little deeper, and I think that's what Scope It Out is for.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
And I think you are using equipment now, like the ship, and I think you're studying objects.
Yes, that is the plan.
And the consequences, as always, would be on a 6-. There's no consequence on this roll for a 7 to 9, I wouldn't say. Although I always make the response somewhat interesting on a 7 to 9.
Yeah, I'm not going to poke at the military ships. I don't need to cause any trouble for our mission on the way out. I'll leave it alone.
Okay, there we go. That's what it's there for. Okay, any other questions about that situation?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, and many hours later, as you're approaching the edge of the jump space, everybody else, you casually keep an eye on the chat, and it takes a couple hours of lag time for messages to be sent, but there's definitely a GNN news update. RNN news and update, sorry. So Gateway Republic Navy ships are appearing from metaspace by the dozens here in Gateway system. Anton Sonez, GNN military analyst, says these are REP-marked frigate-class fighting ships that have been on long-term patrol in the rim worlds for the last few years. This appears to be a major redeployment of Republic ships away from Gansu, Sepulchre, and Tide, presumably to increase the number of combat patrols here in Gateway system. The Republic Military Command has not scheduled a press conference to answer the growing number of questions about the details of what appears to be a defensive operation. However, the neighboring system of Gansu was quick to make a comment. Sotnit Nugal Odval of the Reformed Neo-Communist Party said, quote, "This is a new dawn of space sovereignty for the glorious people of Gansu. Our next demand is the withdrawal of the Republic military station, which has squatted in our orbit for too long."
I'm sorry. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, that's a notable redeployment. It's a fair number of vessels.
Yeah, that swarm threat is no joke. We got to see it firsthand.
Yeah, I wonder what's actually flying those things.
Not sure. We didn't stick around long enough to find out.
If you're curious, Vikesh and Talon, this is news to you.
Yeah, it's just you guys encountered them? What did you encounter?
They're crystalline vessels in Sirocco. We're in Sirocco, and all of a sudden the radar was blotted out with just well over 100 individual signals. They swarmed the Gateway military in the station there. They tried to swarm us. We met up with a frigate, fought them off, and then got out of there.
Like silicon-based crystal ships, like life forms, or just the ships, like grown?
They're crystalline in nature.
Really, like
You can look at all our logs. Feel free. It's under the
it's like Talon stopped hearing what you said once he realized there was logs, and he just went over and started typing.
So you actually fought them. Like, all I've got is that horrible 30-second video the RNN put up. It doesn't show anything.
No, and it was kind of full of some inconsistencies.
Yeah, and of course it was. It's public news, but
Talon starts geeking out about what he's seeing. What he's seeing from the energy weapons as he's looking at the the numbers of ships and the counts of ships and how hard they would be to grow.
Yeah, they hit us pretty hard with a shot or two.
Thankfully, we had assistance from that patrol boat. Otherwise, I think we would have been swarmed and destroyed.
I'm not so sure. Akira was a good pilot.
Pew pew! Pew! I love those effects. Where's the laser sound, though, Phil?
Yeah. No audio in the logs.
Just imagine it. Pew pew!
What those guys were like on the ground?
I don't even know. They came from that planet in Sirocco. Not much is known about it.
Want to go back there?
I do. This is over. I was looking for a commission to go back there. That's Gateway. Oh, is this Sirocco? Oh, Vermar is the planet. Vermar.
Vermeer.
Vermeer's in Sirocco system. Yep.
That's the one they came from. I was looking for the name.
If you want to get a license, I'm sure I can find somebody to give us a job to go out there.
Yeah, that's kind of my next goal, Vikesh, is to get a license, commission, whatever, to go out there and assist however I can. I have a
So,
weekend if you guys follow me.
so you said there was a battle with these ships out somewhere? Anywhere near where we're going?
No, it's in Sirocco. We're going to Tide.
I would love to get my hands on some of that crystal. Maybe some of the technology.
Yeah, the flak cannon blows it apart pretty nicely. I'll say that.
Yeah, flak iron crystal, that makes sense, but I'd imagine they have pretty powerful lasers, right?
Yeah, they hit us pretty hard.
Yeah. Love to see the tech. Are they robots or life forms? Oh, man.
So no, there's no communication, only static. And it was a strange static that kind of blotted things out and sent our systems kind of haywire.
Yeah, I know. It could have been them communicating. I mean, if you're talking like a silicon-based life form, they could, be more, I don't know, more in tune with, computers than we are, right, as bios.
At last I heard, the initial wave, the Republic orbital there in Sirocco, survived it. But I haven't heard anything since then.
Shit, well, that's good news.
Yeah, well,
It's a pretty serious orbital.
well, you also think they'd tell us if it blew?
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, losing something like that's hard to keep,
I think best I can guess is all the civilian traffic in there is either destroyed or fled. Right.
True.
Most of it didn't make it out. We were watching them pop in real time as we were trying to get out. They were too far away. We couldn't do any good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They're civilian haulers are called casualties. Yeah, whatever. But I'm sure, if Gateway if that orbital didn't survive, likely very little around it survived.
Mm.
There's definitely no way that the Gateway Republic would tell us that it died.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, Talon, I might need your help executing the spike jump.
Oh, yeah.
Full
Where are we going?
disclosure, I've never done one before. We had a cracked pilot, former military, who jumped us to Sirocco and back. But this will be my first time.
Nah, they're easy. No problem. I can help walk you through it.
Great.
I know the theory. Backwards and forwards, no problem.
I've been reading all the technical manuals, but never done one in practice.
Yeah, just you know where we're going, right? Let me look it up and get some info.
Yep. You should have all the destination information.
Gotcha. Yep, just give me a bit.
Okay. So the scene is the half hour that it takes to calculate the appropriate trajectory to head through spike space. Metaspace is a very strange spot. It's between all different places, but it's no place itself. And it's not something that you can get to without the scientific drives based on the ancient technology that's mostly been lost, of which Gateway is one of the very few systems in the entire sector that has the ability to create new. Through this, Gateway has expanded itself, and not even Gansu, the other most up-to-date system, high-tech system within Gateway system, within the Gateway Republic, is able to make these ships new. They have to buy them from Gateway. So you have to plot your course, and plotting your course is super careful, because if your trajectory is wrong inside of metaspace, like literally who knows where you'll end up. So you have to plot far enough away from the gravity well of the ship, the star that you're leaving, and get a very correct trajectory on the way in towards there. So it's not necessarily hard to jump into metaspace if you have a jump drive, a spike drive, which you do, but you want to be very careful that you know exactly where you're going. And it's a bit of art as well, because there's some parts about it being metaphysical and based on kind of psionic scientific technology that just a raw computer can't do. So Sakimi, we're not going to roll any dice yet because we roll it later so that you know what happens later. Sakimi, like, what do you want to do? What's your intent for your navigation that's coming up?
Yeah, my intent is to collaborate with Talon and try to make the jump to Tide, notifying our passenger before we jump, of course, and just trying to double, triple, quadruple, quintuple check everything because she's never done this before. But she seems confident, like less rattled than before.
Okay, Talon, how are you helping?
Yeah, so Talon's going to use, he's studied in FTL travel, so he's like, oh yeah, this is, he's approaching this like this should be no problem, like he's got the path. So he's doing a research into the space of where we're going into. He's helping plot the path out, and yeah, he definitely knows what he's talking about.
Cool. And mechanically, how is this working, Talon? I think we trigger something.
Yeah, so I'm going to use my expert in FTL to, when I use a move that's covered by one of my fields of expertise, my goal is to share the expertise with a crew member and pass advantage onto them with that knowledge.
Awesome. And I think we said this triggered lean on me, right? Because you're trying to support an effort and an action before they roll.
No, I think it's share expertise they calculate.
Oh, sorry. There's a whole rule for that. Awesome. Yeah, perfect. When you consult your accumulated knowledge on something you're an expert in. I agree. Okay, so here's the consequences. On a 7 to 9, I make it interesting, and on a 6+, it's mine totally. So do you understand that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. So this is plus calculating. And I think you've got a advantage forward.
You have advantage.
I do have an advantage.
Nice. So you can toggle it in the little drop down when you click next to the attribute.
I was considering using one of my hooks as part of this process.
Wow, here we go.
As Talon is, and it's in like the execution phase of this process. So like right as I'm redirecting power and helping Sakimi with the prepping the spike drive to massage it through space, and how to do it. As I'm going through that part of the phase, and as we start energizing, a can of empty, somewhat rotten at this point food rolls off the top of something where I missed cleaning it up, and falls onto Talon, and just sprays him with just sort of nasty old, still a little moist food.
Oh, gross.
which completely fucks up my cool, calm demeanor as I was trying to help out with this.
It was a can of pork brains. Just
pork brains, yes. No, it was pork brains, yes.
Somewhat gravy is the important part.
Just somewhat more moist pork brains.
There it is. Yep. That was
okay. this triggers a hook, and I would just say the advantage cancels out the disadvantage, right? So you're neutral.
Yep.
Yep, that is
Yep.
mechanically correct even.
So this is a flat plus calculating.
Okay.
Here we go.
Where'd my character sheet go? Oh, there's. It's open already.
We'll roll this one now, but not Sakimi's. So
Nice.
Classic.
okay, Talon, you did a pretty good job describing it, I think. Maybe describe a little bit more kind of what the immediate physical consequences of this are.
Yeah, so the physical consequences are more as I'm trying to so you have the captain who's sort of new to it, who was actually she was feeling confident, I was feeling confident, helping feed into that, and then suddenly like I'm not focused on oh god damn, oh my god, and I'm not managing the power anymore for her, so I'm just really like not helping out, and I'm also throwing a little bit like of nervousness her way, because she's still pretty new to this, even though she was, approaching it pretty confidently. But yeah, I'm like, oh crap, and I'm not helping anymore, and I'm like sort of trying to take my shirt off and get this crap off of me.
Milk gravy. Milk gravy.
Okay, the camera shows a distant scene. There are swarms of purple crystalline ships swiftly approaching a orange reddish sandy planet. In orbit around this planet is a major Gateway Republic military station, and this station is quite damaged. You've seen footage of a number of these normal ship-sized crystal ships before, but what's new here is a much larger, giant blue piece of crystal. It spins kind of asymmetrically, and you start to see, rather than small blue lasers, this absolutely gigantic, huge swath of blue light emanate out. You notice that it emanates out, and the scene zooms all the way into that Gateway Republic orbital, where there's a major explosion and red flashing lights, and large amounts of oxygen are vented as other secondary explosions rip across the station. The camera cuts out before you can see the result.
Because of Talon's bad roll.
It's
all your fault.
on me.
Sakimi, Talon doesn't help at all, and your course is plotted. The next step is to engage a jump drive.
All right. Like I said, I'll let our passenger know, and then I'll let the crew know. All right, here we go.
Okay, there's a bluish blur all around and a lurching feeling in everybody's throat as the ship jumps forward into metaspace. The drives in the back, which you wouldn't want to go anywhere near of now, don't look like mechanical things. They have this crazy blue energy pulsing off of them. All of you feel like a little blurry for a second, and all of the outside of the windows is that crazy bluish white streaks just streaking past constantly. It always takes at least a couple minutes, depending on how many times you've done this, to kind of feel comfortable enough again to get up and move around, unstrap yourselves, etc. But you've jumped appropriately, and you're definitely in the midst of the metaspace, zooming along. These trips take a while, up to a week. I think the next most interesting thing that happens about halfway through is Sakimi figures out the results of her jump, so we can see how long it's going to take. So what I would like to do is resolve that jump itself.
Okay. And then downtime afterwards, or do we get downtime before?
It's up to you guys. Let's kind of set the larger context first. So I'm looking at the ship playbook now, because this isn't one we've done before, and I'm looking at the drill space drive smuggler move.
Yeah, it's great.
So The consequence is on the 7 to 9, things advance. And on the 6 minus, yeah, then other stuff happens.
Lots of stress. Yeah.
Yep. There's actually a
Low life
specific
support.
mechanical thing for 6 minus.
Yeah.
Okay, Sakimi, I think it's over to you with a plus alien.
Yep. No advantage
Wow.
because Talon sucks. Alright. Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
You didn't roll.
Perfect.
Hey Matt, you didn't roll a 6.
I didn't roll a 6, yeah, that's
So I mean, we got
I'm
that
going
going
the
for
wrong
us.
direction. Yeah.
And now we're dead.
Okay.
This is how we roll.
First, everybody mark 1 stress.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
Second, on the ship itself, I'm going to mark a maintenance. It's kind of broken. I need to fix this.
Yeah, it's weird.
So anyway, you're at 2 out of 4. On maintenance fuse, what you need to do is spend money through loot you get before it hits 4 or just after it hits 4, because after that you start to have penalties.
No, is it the fail jump or is it just jumping that makes it move?
That was a fail.
Yeah, I think it should be both, but I need to look into it more because I do want to have pressure on the jumps to simulate the spike fuel, but I need to think through it more thoroughly. But this
Okay.
one for the moment that's how mechanically I'm going to do the low supplies. And the camera pans, the camera zooms in, and it's that same piece of space as before. There's a major gateway military orbital. There are very large explosions ripping across its hull. And rather than a giant beam of light that shot out before from the much, much larger blue crystalline ship, there's now a swarm of smaller ships. Now that the major military orbital's defenses are down, the swarm of small ships is just like 100 of them cluster around the orbital station. The orbital station has like 2 guns up, and a few of them get destroyed, but dozens and dozens and dozens of lasers trigger. Then all of a sudden, all of the small crystalline ships withdraw at once at the exact same time. The scene stays still for a moment, and then the major gateway orbital station explodes.
Uh-oh.
And shrapnel and bits of debris hit the camera. Then there's a huge shockwave that hits the camera, and the camera goes black.
Shit.
And
We need to get out of here.
in back where you are in the Harsh Mistress, you zoom and I gotta clean this up. You zoom and you come out of metaspace. You are in Tide system. Tide system has a little write-up on Trello. Maybe you looked at it before, maybe you didn't. I'll just read it now just to be careful. So it's breathable. It's tech level 3, which is like modern day Earth. So it's not as high tech as Gateway with all the future tech. But it's pretty high tech. There's a couple million inhabitants here, and it's a water world with few stable islands. It's still developing spaceflight industry, so most of it is surface marine activity. Aerial navigation is hampered by numerous semi-submerged alien ruins with inactive anti-air defenses, and the local political structure is led by the Empress of Storms. So involvement in local politics, says Gateway Republic, is strongly discouraged. You're in the outer belt of this new system, and If you'd like to take some downtime, you can. If you think it's important to kind of the fiction at the moment or the mechanical advancement of your character. If not, we can just zoom right to Tide Planet.
I'd like to take some downtime with Junbi, just because we've been through so much and we haven't had a moment to breathe.
Awesome, do it.
Yeah, like so some morning, like when we both wake up, getting coffee, I like to just sit and talk with Junbi. That's all.
Yep. So
Like in
the
the mess
scene
hall.
is you've navigated successfully through metaspace, and you're here in your new destination target system. But it's still a couple days until you'll get to the planet.
Morning, Junbi.
Good morning.
We haven't really had a chance to catch up on all that's happened. I just wanted to see how you were doing with it all.
Well, honestly, I was expecting to see a little bit more of Mara on this journey than we have, so, not exactly to expectations, but I guess that's the way of the universe.
Someone once told me the stress is in the expectation. You can keep those in check, you can keep your stress in check.
Very wise, Daimo. Thank you.
So where did
And-
you grow up? Like in the White Lotus Shogunate?
Honestly, Daimo, I was sent away very early to the capital of Touchpoint, to Academy, very early on. Um, but my family held a residence in Swan Heights.
Is that a randomly generated name like our names?
Yes. They were fairly prosperous. How recently? They were fairly prosperous before the um the empire was dissolved. They could afford to send me to such a expensive academy.
I know things haven't really gone the way that we thought they would, so I'd like to apologize for that.
Oh, you have nothing to apologize for, Daimo. It is the Gateway Republic that will have to answer in time for what it's done.
Perhaps. For now, I think they are the best. They might be the best bulwark against whatever's coming out of Sirocco. So, yeah. I just wanted to talk with you just to see how you're doing. It's been a rough few weeks, so anytime you want to talk, I'm here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And you are well as well?
You know, thou flows as it will, so I'm trying to flow along with it as best I can. This is all new to me, though, so I feel like we need to be helping out. So when this is over, hopefully we can follow that path. But the universe seems to take us where it wishes these days.
You're handling it quite well, if you don't mind me saying.
Thanks. You've been a rock. I've been able to lean on you. You're very competent at what you do, and I have full faith in you. So
Thank you.
thanks for supporting me. I do appreciate it. And yeah, let's go murder Vikesh and Talon where they sleep.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, ouch.
Oh gosh, it'd be like when Carl and I went to kill John's character in the Evil
Oh
Dead.
man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember how that played out.
Yeah, the two of us turned the slaughter for like 10 rounds and we both died.
Yep.
Lots of missing.
Oh,
All right. So according to the rules of downtime, like I said, what Sakimi really wanted to do was just kind of level set with Junbi, see where he's at, kind of ground ourselves back into being people as opposed to just high impact smugglers. Where is it? So downtime. There it is. So you can work on a project, confront a crew member, or spend time getting closer to a crew member. You may each choose to heal one stress or have advantage going forward.
Yeah, keep the stress because mechanically that was a result of the jump. So take the advantage forward.
Okay.
Like if it was old stress, you could heal it, but because essentially stress is the same scene, so.
Okay.
I would also like to take a downtime scene, but a brief one.
Yeah, everyone should be able to.
Yeah. With
I
you,
think that's
Captain
totally
Taylor.
appropriate during all of these deep space encounters, so go for it.
Yeah. So during the trip, when nobody else is on the bridge, Vikesh comes in, says, got him in, Captain Taylor.
Of course, Vikesh.
I just want to clear something up with you. I know I've been a little pushy since I came on board.
Well, you did come on board under stressful circumstances, which I do appreciate what you and Talon did for us.
Well, yeah. But I think you should know that, when I see someone who is a leader start to waffle, start to doubt themselves, I'm going to push them. I'm going to keep pushing them because you need to be made out of steel. You got to make your decision, stick to it, make sure this crew does it. And if you can't do that, I'm going to make you do it. Do you understand me?
I understand where you're coming from. Could you elaborate a little bit more on make me do it?
Oh, I'm not going to force. I'm not going to stick a gun in your belly or anything dumb like that. I'm not a moron.
Okay, I didn't get that sense from you, so okay, thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, so I'm used to talking to chucklehead jump Marines who do need to have a gun stuck in their belly. But this you got to have backbone. If you can't have it, I'm going to have it for you.
Yeah, no, in all honesty, this is quite new for me. I have not been out in the stars and in this life very long, so I am finding my way amongst the vast Tao. So
Yeah.
trust that I will find it. I believe I will.
Yeah, it shows. To my experience, you can't find the data out here. You can't just let yourself wander. You got to actively look. Otherwise, it's a good way to be dead in the black.
I'm learning that is the truth of what's out here. So I do appreciate your support and your counsel, and I'm really glad you both came aboard.
Fair enough. Yeah. Be honest with me. I'm honest with you. Just I'll apologize in advance because my honesty will be harsh most of the time.
Understood.
All right. Enjoy your afternoon, Captain.
You too.
And I am going to use that to trigger my hook of this crew needs a backbone.
Ooh, I like
Yeah,
it.
yep, this is all good. I'm gonna give everybody +1 forward from the downtime. Because I
Yeah.
think mechanically that's just the most straightforward way, and everybody's interacted with everybody else, and I'm not gonna let the stress get removed yet. So just everybody be at +1 forward, and then separately, Vikesh. I think you're saying that triggers a hook. I mean, you're not gonna take a
Yes.
mechanical roll from it now because it doesn't trigger a move. But I think you're saying you're minus at a disadvantage, so essentially you're flat.
Yeah, so I will not take disadvantage forward. I'll take neither disadvantage nor advantage forward.
Yep, yep. I agree with that. And let's just note Talon here.
I'm noting it in my pronouns box. +1 advantage forward.
There you go.
Or I mean, Talon could take tick on a project if he wasn't interacting with anyone.
That's true,
I was
Talon.
actually,
Yep.
that's what I was thinking. I was going to take on a project. I was just
Awesome.
debating whether I was going to start to. I think I'm going to start to feeling bad about what happened with the place not being clean to my specifications. I'm going to start to update. I'm going to start to upgrade one of the robots. I'm going to make myself a handyman.
Okay,
I'll figure. Yeah, we'll figure that out
agree that
offline.
off board. Yeah, that's an awesome one. So not the +1 forward.
Yep.
But another advantage from the thing, and I'll look at that a little more so we can be a little cleaner on those jumps because I agree something should definitely happen every time. Okay, any other questions or things that people want to resolve or anything else you want to do before we get to Tide?
No.
I'd like to familiarize myself with gateway security encryptions as like a project, as a personal project.
Next time you have downtime, you might start a tick on de-encrypting gateway communications.
That's
gotcha.
cool. June B, do you want to take that as a project rather than a +1 forward?
Yeah, because our conversation could have been quick, and you could have gone and done that. It's up to you how you
Yeah.
spend your downtime.
Yeah. Yes, I do want to do that for going forward.
He gets fresh food. Unless someone challenges me.
No, well, but the jump did take an extra.
Oh, good point. Enjoy the pace, buddy.
We had enough food for the 7 days, no problem.
The
Okay.
robot's like, here's your paste.
So there is a reasonable amount of fresh food in packed. However, you only have enough fresh food for the one-way trip there, and because it took longer than you expected, the choice is: do you give Counselor Buposo fresh food the whole time? And if so, who doesn't get fresh food, or does he start to eat
No,
paste?
I keep it equal. So I make sure that all the crew gets fresh food. And so he eventually gets on pace.
Yeah, I turn it down. I'm used to MREs.
Oh.
Keep the job happy.
All
Less
right.
problems for us on the ground.
All right. Then he gets fresh food.
Wow, Vikesh, the NutriPaste machine will spit out anything you want. It all tastes like NutriPaste. What does yours make?
It makes roughly 3-inch by 5-inch by half-inch bars.
Ugh.
And I am frequently seen walking around doing whatever with just a NutriPaste bar in my hand, not nibbling on it absentmindedly.
Sakimi, if the counselor's getting fresh food the whole time, and everybody else was about to run out, are you going to take somebody else's fresh food, or are you going to eat one day a NutriPaste?
No, I'll eat paste.
And what does your paste look like? Machine can make anything you want.
It's like a bowl of rice.
Okay. June B, are you snagging any fresh food from anybody else? Or you just going to eat your NutriPaste?
Oh boy, I will eat my NutriPaste.
And what's it look like?
Looks like ramen.
Sensing a theme. Talon, there's always a chance to pilfer some fresh food and nobody else is looking. So Counselor Buposo hasn't eaten yet today. You going to intercept his and get fresh food? Or you going to eat your NutriPaste?
No, I'll eat my NutriPaste. I make them into more human-sized bars and follow Vikesh's lead.
Ugh.
But I'm not as happy about it.
A glum mentee looking up at his big mentor.
You eat up. I know it tastes bad. That's how you build character, kid.
Character tastes like
comes
shit.
from eating. It does. Character tastes awful, but you're going to have a lot of it.
Hopefully we get the next jump right.
Okay, so in Tide system is, as always, in Republic space, Gateway Republic space, is there's a minor military orbital in orbit around Tide. You visited the one back on Sirocco, some of you did, and you'll know it's a pretty impressive piece of technology. There's something like maybe a dozen ships there, and there's maybe less than 100 people on it. So it's a small outpost. Nothing at all like the major military station, which floats outside of Gateway. And we had the scene around the military outpost on Sirocco a little while ago. There is some traffic in sector. You'd expect to see some Republic military ships on patrol. There's none. Doesn't mean that there's none in the station, but there's none out on patrol. And you definitely see other kind of registered traffic. There's a Gansu registered ship, a frigate. There's a handful of other Gateway registered ships. These are free merchants. Maybe they're cargo. Maybe they're private people on pleasure tour. Who knows what's going on? But they're registered. And it's also quite clear as you start to approach the asteroid belt that there is your ship sensors are picking up activity all around the asteroid belt, but you don't see any corresponding transponders on ship sensors. So it appears to be that there are a number of non-registered, non-transponder ships around the asteroid belt that separates you from getting closer to Tide system. What do you do?
Do we know of any Gateway military installations in the asteroid belt or no?
Not in the asteroid belt. It's in orbit around the planet itself, so it's through the asteroid belt.
All right. Junbi, why don't you go ahead and flip off our transponder? I'm expecting a lot of pirate activity. Nowhere here.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
And we'll kind of, after it goes off, we'll veer off in a different angle. That way, not obvious.
Make them work.
Yeah, make them work for the dinner.
Come on, this hamburger's got claws.
Okay, so Vcash. What was that move before that had some complications?
Oh, that was me doing having Lean on Me with Taylor.
Lean on me. There we go.
No, it wasn't with me. It was with someone
else.
else.
I meant talent. Talent.
Ah.
That's what I was trying to say. And my mouth just completely fucked it up.
Okay, so you were exposed to danger and complication. So Talon described to me, I'm sorry, Vikesh, described to me either the pirate or mercenary activity that's taking place in this asteroid belt in the center of Tide system, and how that is going to expose danger to you or complicate your efforts. I'm breaking the rules a little bit by putting a little control in your hands, but I'm okay with that to set the scene.
Okay. What's happening, and this doesn't really become apparent at all until we're in the belt and pretty much almost in the middle of it, is that two of the local gangs of pirates have decided it's time to take each other out. And we're going to be rolling into the center of a giant, what will become a three-way firefight.
Okay, we'll end it there as the harsh mistress. As the harsh mistress has turned off her transponder and taken a sharp bank into what it was hoping was a quiet part of the asteroid belt. However, it was so quiet, some other pirates were setting up an attack here that kicks off just as the harsh pirate goes screeching through. And we'll pick it up from next time.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Okay, on Trello, there's the experience system / end of session questions. So first question, and this one has to be one by one. Did anybody's hook impact events or the characters? Sakimi.
Maybe.
Did it?
I didn't call it, so.
Yeah, then no. So
Okay.
call it next time.
Good. You got it.
Yeah, and I felt that was more his than yours from that perspective. Okay.
Agreed. I'll probably change my hook next time.
Yep,
That's fine.
awesome. Vikesh.
The one we were just talking about.
Awesome. So +1 XP from the hook. Yep, I agree. Junbi, hook.
Negatory.
Negatory, close, so close. Talon, hook.
Is that where like was I able to work the clean situation in or no?
Yes, that's the hook.
The miss
one,
jump.
Right? That's
I was gonna say right. Yeah. Okay.
A space station got partially destroyed because of that one, so I would say that works.
Ow!
That was the most
butterfly
epic.
flaps its wings in tide, and a space station blows up in Sirocco.
Okay, did the team complete a mission or contract?
No.
No.
It's
Got a lot closer.
Did the team overcome a dangerous obstacle or explore a new and mysterious location?
If we consider the fortune situation dangerous, then yes. I feel like we burnt a lot of rolls of 6 or lower to get away from the fortune stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and it certainly ate a fair amount of our session.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. There was a lots of ways for that to turn dangerous or negatively impactful, and it was definitely overcome. So yes, that's +1 XP for everybody. Ooh, here's a good one. Did the team learn something new and important about the universe?
We learned numerous new and important things about the universe through cutscenes.
We got the information about Mara.
Yeah. We both became now more knowledgeable about the crystalline ships too. I feel like it was a good there was good information all around.
Okay, +1 XP for everybody. That's 2 so far. Plus your hook. Did you make a new enemy or thwart an existing enemy?
I don't think so.
We thwarted fortune.
That's what I say. We might have made. Yeah, as I say, I don't know if we made an enemy, but
I think Harley Blue made the enemy. I don't think it was us. Yeah. I don't think that one applies.
Yeah.
We haven't talked to this diplomat nearly enough for him to be our enemy yet.
Yeah. We haven't left him stranded.
Yeah, wait till we fuck up the mission. Then he can be our enemy.
He seems like an easy to get along with guy. I don't know what you're saying. So no, on that one I agree. And then did you roll 6- each one at a time, Sakimi?
Yeah, I rolled it twice. So
Okay, that's another XP. 1 XP, Vikesh.
It's all I rolled actually.
No, I made one roll and it was a 9.
Okay, Junbi.
I didn't roll at all.
Wow, Talon.
Yep, made one roll.
Okay,
6
so
or 2
XP
rolls.
for you guys. So any questions on your amount of XPs?
No.
No, you only get 1 XP though, Talon. Because
Yep,
I made you reroll the other one. Cool.
Yep, yeah, I remember that I remember that conversation.
So Vikesh and Talon were the hooks. And Sakimi and Talon was 6-.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, last 2 questions and then a link. So what does your character want to do next session, Talon?
Ooh, I would like to finish this mission and move on to ideally figure out more about these aliens.
Okay, so complete this and learn about aliens. Junbi, what does your character want to do next session?
Since information about Mara is currently at a quiet point, I want to improve my I want to learn more about the Republic encryption system, so that way I could potentially get into systems in the future.
Cool. Vikesh, what does your character want to do next session?
It's been a very long time since I shot someone in the face.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward. And Sakimi, what does your character want to do next session?
Get some sort of official commission or bounty or contract to head back to Sirocco.
Okay, cool. Matt, what does your player want to do next session?
I'll finish the damn mission and roll something that's above a 6.
Carl.
I need to get into a ground fight so I can determine how my character advances.
Keenan.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
What does your player want to do next session? You, the human.
Oh, what do I want to do next session? I want to hack some stuff.
And Eric.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind some combat next session. Talon hasn't got to test out harming.
Okay, awesome. We can do all that. And let me stop the recording. And here is a link here and a link on Discord for the survey. Thank you very much for playing. I can't do 2 weeks because we're away on holiday, so it'll be 3 weeks before the next game. Sorry about that. And remember, everybody got a write-up in. That was awesome. It's so useful for so many different things. That was fantastic. Plus instant XP. So remember about your write-ups. They're usually easier to do sooner than later. And please take a few moments and fill out the survey because the feedback is very valuable. Oh, and do me a favor. Click that link. It should say Stars Without Number Session 8.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Yep. Peace.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.